Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. It is Monday, December 9th, 8:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are here entering into the second week of the last month of the year, December. And obviously, we've got a lot of stuff going on throughout the entire year. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff going on in December. We have a lot of events coming up this week from a macro perspective that we're going to be talking about. And we also have a stock that is currently in the pre-markets trading at all-time highs. A little stock that I think you guys might know something about. If you're watching this channel, you've probably seen a video or two about this company. Ladies and gentlemen, Palantir Technologies, ticker symbol PLTR, is up 6% in the pre-markets. It was up 7.5% at one point. We are above $80 in the pre-market. We were supposed to ring the bell at 77, at 78, at 79, at 80, and then 81. Those are 5 bell rings that have been foregone because now we're already at 81. This is wild. This is crazy, whatever adjective you want to use, but it's happening. Now, it's happening because there's some reasons for why it's happening, and we're going to talk about some of those reasons in just a little bit to go a little bit more deeper on why we are hitting $81 in the pre-market. Look, let me just say this right now. Again, you guys have heard me say this for the past couple of weeks. I cannot justify the numbers. I can't do it. Can't do it. With $2.8 billion in revenue, 30% growth, I just, I can't make the numbers make sense to justify what is going to open at around $185 billion market cap. I can't do it. But I can give some qualitative analysis to kind of explain why the institutional FOMO on Palantir is reaching levels that we have not seen before. So we're going to talk about that, get into all that. I think it's one of those things where you sit back, enjoy the ride, but we'll kind of discuss what I'm thinking here and how I'm thinking of the stock, how I'm thinking of stock price action, also how I'm thinking of what buyers are actually buying at these levels, because someone's buying it at 81 for it to be at these levels. On top of that, we got a lot of news on Tesla. We will talk about Tesla as well. There is a potential Model Q, aka the next generation $25,000 vehicle that was not leaked, but talked about at an investor conference with Deutsche Bank and Tesla over the weekend. Deutsche Bank raised their price targets at $370 in the pre-market from $295. We are seeing Tesla that wants to break $400. We did touch it overnight, but it didn't last for too long. 397.89 up 2.23% in the pre-market. So you got Palantir up 6.3%. You got Tesla up 2.21%. And you've got Bitcoin, which is below 100,000, but our boy Michael Saylor just bought another 21,000 Bitcoin. That came out this morning. He paid an average price of $98,000 per coin. MicroStrategy now owns 2% of all the Bitcoin in circulation. Out of all the 21 million, they own 2% of them with 423,650 Bitcoin at an average price of $60,000 and 234 a coin. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible on Bitcoin. So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let's get into the market open. John, cool comic guy, Tobias, Andy, Jesse, Kyle, Jem, what's up? What's up? We got Samir, Noland, Chris, what's up? Greg, Blake, Player One, Lang. SoFi did get downgraded this morning. That's why SoFi is getting hit. We'll talk about SoFi. Also, Robinhood got upgraded this morning by one of their analysts that's been bearish for the past year. So we're going to talk about Robinhood's upgrade as well because we got a lot to talk about there. Julie Law, thank you for being here. Seko says ring the bell for 5 minutes. You know what? Today we might have to ring the bell for 5 minutes straight. Jared, Maurice, Jason, Quarantine Quartet. Hello. Thank you all for being here today. Chris Anderson, Felicia, I'm Beneficial, Polly, Moon, Steve. What's up? Steve did call me this morning as well. And I said, Steve, why are you upset? You said it's going to 150. He said, in all seriousness. I'm like, no. You were pretty serious on the market close 2 weeks ago when you said 150. Steve is loving every second of this, I guess. Kenneth, what's up? Harvey, what's up? Rob, what's up? Tom, Neville, General Weenus. General Weenus, that is a hell of a name. Thank you for being here today. Cecile, Yeti, Pitt, Edgar. All right, let's get into it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And again, Steve is probably going to start getting back out of those covered calls or rolling them pretty soon. But at this point, if he keeps waiting and we don't get the stock going down, it's just going to be harder to get at these covered calls. So I'm going to talk about covered calls as well because I know people are stuck in those positions. I have some thoughts on how to kind of navigate that, but we'll get into pretty much everything that we got to get into. All right, so Here we go. Let's get started. We're going to start off our coverage with Palantir. Probably going to be talking about it for the next 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to Tesla, the macro. We got a lot of stuff to discuss: Bitcoin, crypto, Robinhood, MicroStrategy, all that good stuff. But let's spend some time on Palantir. So I think we'll start off the coverage with a clip. Alex Karp was at RNDF this weekend, Reagan National Defense Forum, and Elon Musk shared Alex Karp talking for 2 minutes to 200 million followers. This clip got 30 million views in less than 24 hours. This is what it means to have a CEO who knows how to communicate to the world. And this is, I think, also partly the reason why the stock is up right now. So let's start off with this, and then we'll get into all the other reasons for why I think the stock is currently moving in the pre-markets.
Most loving, God-fearing, fair, least discriminatory people on the planet. And they want to know that if you're waking up and thinking about harming American citizens, or if American citizens are taken hostage and kept in dungeons, or if you're a foreign power sending fentanyl to poison our people, something really bad is going to happen to you and your friends and your cousins and your bank account and your mistress and whoever was involved. And, you know, when Americans are spending $1 trillion on defense, what I want and what I think my peers want is, why are these people keeping our citizens hostage, torturing our people, attacking our allies, maligning us in what was once called the United Nations, basically a discriminatory institution against anything good? We need to stand up, and those people need to be scared. And that's why this conference is so important, because we have the best products in the world, and we cannot have parity. Our adversaries do not have our moral compunction. If it's even, they will take advantage of our niceness, kindness, our desire to be at home in Nebraska or New Hampshire or wherever we live in our peaceful environments. And they need to wake up scared and go to bed scared. And if you give that to the American people will go back and say, and honestly, probably shouldn't say this is why I thought the Democrats were going to lose the election, why they did, because people want to live in peace. They want to go home. They do not want to hear your woke pagan ideology. They want to know they're safe. And safe means that the other person is scared. That's how you make someone safe. And the average American person understands this. Unfortunately, many of the intellectually captured institutions, funneled and intellectually owned by the Berkeley faculty, do not. And that's what they want. But sure as hell what I want. And that's what Palantir and all the people in this room, I hope, we're here to serve the American people. And my version of service is the soldiers are happier, the enemies are scared, and Americans go back to enjoying the fact that we're the only one with a real tech scene in this country, and we're going to win everything. That's how I see it.
So I think the importance of Alex Karp to kind of start off why Palantir is up 7% right now in the pre-markets cannot be understated. Again, regardless of whether you believe in what he said or don't believe in what he said, the point is you're listening. And as someone who deeply cares about communication, as someone who has a past in public speaking and debate, as someone who communicates every day for a living on the market open, market close, the ability to communicate in a way that is actually interesting enough to get people's attention and like give them value when they're listening to you, it's a skill that obviously matters if you're trying to, build anything in life. And Alex Karp has that skill. He's had that skill for a long time. And that skill is the reason why Elon Musk shared that video, not only because Elon probably ideologically agrees with that, but because when Elon was scrolling through Twitter, he came across that clip. He knows Alex. They were friends with each other. And boom, that clip got his attention and he shared it to 200 million people, which is 30 million views for Alex Karp, for people to even, become introduced to this guy that they probably never seen before, because Palantir still is not a household name. And that is obviously good for the company, good for the stock, good for the broader brand awareness of Palantir. Another reason, and this is a little bit of a stretch from me, this is kind of just something I thought of this morning. Maybe there's a world where Doge is going to start to say, hey, Palantir, can you start giving us, some more efficient ways to do a bunch of these things that we're trying to do in a more automated way? Maybe we get rid of some of these government agencies and you guys kind of pick up the slack right here. We've talked about Doge's relationship with Palantir in the past. However, Elon sharing the Alex Karp clip might be Elon kind of just like being friendly to Karp because he knows that Doge is going to potentially make some recommendations for Palantir to get some contracts. Again, that's just a stretch, but the broader argument here is that Elon, Karp, they're friends, sharing the video, big brand awareness. And because of sharing that video and getting that brand awareness, that is obviously more beneficial to be in the limelight and to be someone who is respected by Elon Musk, who now is going to have control over, theoretically, the government's budget and the efficiencies of that budget, which could lead to more government contracts, obviously, for Palantir. So that's the first reason why I think Palantir's up in the pre-markets. Another reason that Palantir's up is because they got a deal with Booz Allen Hamilton on Friday and Anduril last Friday. So on Friday, they got Booz Allen Hamilton in the morning, Anduril in the evening. Both of those deals showing the broader market that the government business is likely going to keep growing. Now, is it going to grow to the point where you justify $20 billion increasing in market cap in 48 hours? Probably not, but the point is the excitement of those deals. It's what's getting the market very exciting as well. And the perception that it'll increase the growth of the government business along with the stuff with Doge that we just talked about, that's also really important. Another reason why Palantir is up in the pre-markets, on Friday, we are going to know if Palantir is included into the NASDAQ, the QQQ ETF. I think it is very likely, this is my opinion, very likely that Palantir will be rebalanced into the QQQ ETF. MicroStrategy, I think, has a good shot of getting in as well. But I think investors know that if Palantir is going to get rebalanced and the institutions are going to have to be buying, then that's going to be really important. And that could be them front-running the rebalance as well. And then, obviously, Elon Musk shared Alex Karp to 200 million followers. Another reason why Palantir is up in the pre-markets is because of this. The U.S. Special Operations Command expands contract with Palantir to deliver advanced AI and mission manager capabilities. This is a $36.8 million one-year contract extension. So in the world of Palantir, when you get a $37 million contract extension, your market cap goes up by $12 billion. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. When you get a $37 million extension, the market gives it a $12 billion premium. I'm being facetious here, as I can't say the word facetious because it sounds like Massachusetts. These are my lips. I suck at those types of words. But the point is, look, the market perception around growth on Palantir is magnificent right now. And if $37 million is, worth $12 billion in market cap in the pre-markets, which it's not literally because of that $37 million contract, but you get the point, then there is an argument that the market simply believes growth is going to be way bigger than what the analysts are expecting at 25, 30%. The market probably thinks it's going to 40, 50%, and they want to front run it. And are they paying a premium? Yes. Are they paying a hell of a premium? Yes. But it also doesn't matter because if Palantir, as Brandon says right here, is still in its infancy, and that's what the market believes, then they think this thing's going to $1 trillion. And paying $200 billion for something going to $1 trillion, well, that's a 5x, return. And I think that's kind of how the market is ultimately interpreting it. So that's what we're seeing for Palantir right now in the pre-markets. You got the QQQ rebalancing. You got a $37 million contract. You've got the Anduril and Booz Allen Hamilton news that's starting to get kind of baked in terms of the impact of the government business. And then you got Alex Karp basically going viral to the tune of 30 million views. Yeah, you're going to get a lot of people that are interested in what's going on with Palantir. Final thing I'll say right here on Palantir, we do have a little bit of a bearish quote from Louis De Palma, who, if you've been in the Palantir community for a while, you know Louis De Palma from William Blair is not a fan of the company. He's been wrong forever. And I personally am not a fan of the guy because he has, in my opinion, arbitrarily raised earnings estimates to make Palantir have unrealistic expectations, particularly in Q3 of 2023. He did this. Palantir said, we're going to do 530 million. He puts out a note 2 days before earnings. They're going to do 550 million. And it's like, no, you can't just raise expectations for your crappy reasons. And his reasons was, they're going to pull forward SPAC revenue. It's like the dumbest thing ever, in my opinion. So he's not an analyst I respect. He's not an analyst I trust, but nonetheless, he is an analyst that has impact because he works at a Wall Street firm. So let's read what he had to say. While Palantir software has gained traction and its announced partnership with Booz Allen Hamilton is positive, the partnership does not change how the company's revenue is still tracking to miss management's 2025 target of $4.5 billion conveyed in August 2022 by over $700 million. Now, look, I don't know if Palantir is going to do $4.5 billion in revenue by 2025. Right now, they're probably going to guide that they're not going to do that. But I think there is an argument that they do $4.5 billion. And if they do put up those numbers, the street will be happy. But yes, as of now, management is not guiding for $4.5 billion. Despite the shortfall, Palantir is now worth $102 billion more than AI data platform peer Snowflake. Despite highly similar fundamentals, we have underestimated the non-fundamental contributors to Palantir's surge in valuation. While partnering with Booz Allen, the best-of-breed government tech provider, is positive, Booz Allen has already been working with Palantir for the past several years. We wrote about Booz Allen partnering with Palantir in 2020. Secondarily, Booz Allen also partners with Palantir's data analytics rivals Databricks and Snowflake. On the AI data analytics front, Booz Allen is known as the leading provider of government IT analytics, having designed and implemented the Advana data analytics platform using Databricks as the foundation for data intelligence. The US DoD describes Advana rather than Palantir as the DoD's largest big data platform. Advana has done well so that the chief data and artificial intelligence office is establishing a $15 billion contract for future Advana implementations and upgrades. As Booz Allen was already partnering with Palantir for a while, we do not expect a meaningful change to Palantir's revenue trajectory. So, yeah, he didn't say too much about the valuation. He just kind of said the Booz Allen Hamilton deal is not a big deal. And he's saying that, hey, if you're paying $100 billion for Palantir more than Snowflake, then that might be a little expensive. Not really kind of a hit piece of a note that he's that he's been known to do in the past. But you got the analysts that you can't really say they're wrong for saying, hey, Palantir is expensive right now. I think every analyst is correct on that argument. All of us are pretty correct on the analysis that Palantir is expensive. However, I think the reason Dan and Mariana have been correct on the story is because they've been able to see the larger vision. They've been able to see the bigger picture. They had a $75 price target. I don't think they're going to upgrade it because I think it'll then seem like they're chasing the stock. And I think they're going to ruin a lot of their credibility if they just say, oh, we're going to go to 100 from 75 after they already went from 75 to 55. So I think they're probably going to leave it at 75. Unless management has like a crazy Q4, they're probably not going to upgrade it. They're going to say, hey, 75 is reasonable for 1 year out. And then if Palantir goes above 75, it goes above 75. But I do think that Dan and Mariana have been right on the story because they can see a larger vision that Palantir is optimizing for, whereas Brent Thill, Louis De Palma, the other institutional analysts, they've missed it. Rishi obviously goes without saying. They haven't been able to be creative enough to understand the story. They haven't understood Alex Karp. They haven't understood the mission around Palantir. They also haven't understood the idea that American dynamism and Western values matters, and people want to support a country that is actually like standing up for its values versus like shying away from it. You put all that together along with Trump, Elon, David Sachs, and there you go. You get Palantir currently at these levels. And it's pretty exciting. That's all I'll have to say. It's pretty damn exciting. Am I buying here? No. I'm not buying here. I haven't been buying since this $40 range. Obviously, the stock has continued to go higher. $81 right here. Look, can't justify the numbers, can't justify the market cap. My personal opinion is if you have Palantir shares, you kind of sit back and enjoy the ride. If you want to sell some, feel free to sell some. I mean, take your profits if you need to take your profits. But if this is a company that's going to be expensive forever, and if this is a company that has Tesla-like shareholders, aka people that are never selling because they believe too much in the vision, the company, Elon, Karp, etc., then these are going to be shares that have shares that are always going to be under pressure because institutions will always pay a premium because people who bought it at $7 are not giving it up for a measly $80 when they think it can go to $500. And that's just the reality of it. I think that's what we're seeing right now. There probably will be pullbacks here and there, but as of now, the institutional FOMO is at the highest levels I've ever seen for a company. And it's been a pretty damn fun ride seeing Tesla or seeing Palantir kind of be a little bit of a mini Tesla and do what it's doing right now. So it is pretty exciting. Yes, Elon has sold Tesla shares before. Karp has sold Palantir shares. I don't think it matters right now because at the end of the day, if the market wants exposure, they don't care that insiders are selling. I mean, every time that Karp has sold, he's missed I think if Karp had just waited like till today to sell all of his shares, he would have probably made another $1 billion. That's how wild it is, right? That's how much the stock has moved since he has sold. And that's just where we're at right now. And I think if retail continues to hold, then institutions are going to continue to have pressure. Here's Mike Gallagher, who works at Palantir on CNBC this morning, talking about their partnership with Anduril and the broader government business. Let's hear from him for a little bit, and then we'll move on to Tesla.
In there, this idea of the DoD budget and what you think long-term can be done as folks like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy using Doge try to actually look at the costs of our defense budget.
Well, first, I would say having Elon and Vivek take a look at DoD and all federal agencies is incredibly good news. It gets me excited. I think that entrepreneurship, that demand for accountability from the American people, channeled through some of America's most innovative minds, is healthy. When it comes to DoD, I think we know we're wasting a ton of money on so-called tail efforts. The largest branch of the military is DoD civilians. And the promise of AI in general, or AI in particular and software in general, is that you can automate a lot of that to reinvest in your tooth. And so that's what I'm mostly excited about. You now have Anduril and Palantir, my company, two of America's most innovative and biggest non-traditional defense companies, combining forces in order to deliver a quantum AI leap for the warfighter today. This is like America's AI Avengers coming together to do in a matter of months what would otherwise take us a decade to do. The time is over for innovation theater. We need to demand results right now. And when it comes to the DoD budget, particularly on AI spending is a joke. About 0.2% of the budget goes to AI. If you just increase that to 2%, it's still not a big amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but it could have a transformative effect on the battlefield in terms of our ability to deter our enemies and, if necessary, destroy them in combat.
Mike,
So there you go. You got Mike Gallagher, who was recently hired by Palantir a couple months ago, basically saying, look, there is a lot of momentum that the broader government business can see, not only in Palantir, but in the entire industry across like software vendors that could get more contracts, but that requires an incremental increase. And he's only asking for an incremental of 1%, from 1% to 2%. Of DoD spending on AI. Again, we spend basically $1 trillion every single year on our military. If you send 2% of that on AI, and Palantir could get maybe 10 or 15% of that 2%, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money coming in. And again, does that mean that the market is justified in giving Palantir $20 billion over the past 48 hours or 72 hours in market cap? Maybe not, but if perception is reality and the market is about narratives and perception, and the market believes that that 2% increase of AI funding will eventually go in a significant way to Palantir, well, then there you go. They're going to buy up those shares and continue to front run some of the price action they're seeing on the stock. And I think that's kind of the momentum that we're seeing currently right now on Palantir. Apparently, it is someone's birthday right here in the chat. As I'm reading the chat right here, I think it is Tess's birthday. So shout out to Tess. Happy birthday. She said, Amit ignores my birthday. I did not know it was your birthday, Tess, but happy birthday to you. Thank you for being here. Tess is someone who's been part of the streams for, like 2 years now? I think she's up 10x on her Palantir, and I think she has no plans of selling as well. So happy birthday to you, Tess. Hopefully you're enjoying it all the way from the UK. I'm going to the UK in the summer. I'm coming to the UK. I am pretty much confirmed. I'm definitely going to Europe in the summer because Robinhood's having that crypto event in France. I think that's the perfect opportunity for me to take a couple weeks and go visit Europe. So I will be definitely coming to Europe, hopefully Germany as well, the UK, Italy, and we'll do a European tour. So hopefully I'll get to see you, Tess, in the UK. But happy birthday to you and congratulations for your 10x on Palantir. All right, so those are my thoughts ultimately on Palantir. We got about 22 minutes left. We will see how the market opens up at 9:30 when it happens. But at the end of the day, look, I know it's very hard for people to understand the price action. Trust me, I talk to a lot of people every day from diverse backgrounds to understand how they're thinking of the price action. No one gets it. The employees don't get it. Customers probably don't get it. Investors probably don't get it. Like, no one understands it, but everyone's enthralled by the idea that it's happening. And that's not necessarily the healthiest, but that's also not necessarily the biggest bubble ever, because I think a level of humility, if we step back and we try to figure out why is this happening, you get into a lot of arguments. And I've been saying those arguments for the past couple months. OpenAI's market cap, Palantir is being comped against that, the government business, this, that, CARP, communication, all that. There's too many qualitative arguments to make the case for why Palantir is doing what it's doing. But the point is, if there's enough arguments that don't have to do with the numbers to justify Palantir getting to these levels, then I think it would behoove a lot of people to say, okay, even if the numbers don't make sense, there is a broader external set of reasons for why a stock is trading at these levels. That doesn't mean you buy it, but that also doesn't mean you have to sell it and get out and take your money because it's the biggest bubble in the world. And I think if this is a long-term story, then although there probably will be pullbacks, it's one of those stories where if you're in, you kind of stay in and you enjoy the ride, kind of like Bitcoin as well, right? A lot of people don't know why Bitcoin's at 100,000, but if you bought it at $2,000 or $20,000 or $40,000 and you believe there is a reason why it could go a lot higher, then you kind of just hold out for the ride and enjoy it. And I think that's, kind of how I'm interpreting my analysis, with Palantir. And that's how I continue to hold. Passion Planet, thank you for the $40 super chat. Amit, do me a favor. Let's just give a round of applause for all of us that have been here following you grinding it out, followed by a moment of silence for the bears. Passion Planet, I appreciate you. We did have one of the biggest Palantir bears actually acknowledge. I don't know if I showed you. Yeah, I didn't show you guys this. I didn't make a big deal out of this because I don't care too much about this, but I do want to show you guys this because you mentioned that comment. And then we'll move on to Tesla. Our boy Edwin has admitted defeat. on Palantir. Now, if you're in the chat, I'm sure you guys know Edwin. Well, some of you guys don't. Some of you guys never saw the debate. Some of you know. Okay, so basically, for those that are new here, when Palantir was at $15, there was this dude who writes a Substack about like shorting companies, and he put out a short report on Palantir. And this is the first time the community actually had to deal with like a really big short report. And you know, I invited him onto the channel. We had a little bit of a debate, and because I came from a debate background, it was a little fun for me. And I asked him, hey, Edwin, so you say Palantir is an AI imposter, as he called them. I said, so what's an ontology? It was like, I was like, well, I don't know, but I don't need to know an ontology to say it's an AI imposter. I was like, all right, well, that's an issue, right? Because you can't just say it's an AI imposter if you don't know like the first thing about the software. So this is what he said right here over the weekend. Yes, I've been wrong many times. My biggest mistakes include Celsius in 2020, RDW in 2021, Coin in 2022, and Palantir in 2023. Big congrats to Amit for being early and right on Palantir. And look, I like Edwin. He's a good guy. By the way, he apologized to me a while ago, like back in May of 2024. So like 5 months ago, you know, he sent me a DM and said, hey, congrats on all the success. And I was like, look, he's not a horrible person. It's just he fucked with the wrong company. Okay. Fucked with the wrong company, fucked with the wrong retail base. Like you go do that to Celsius, go do that to someone else. You don't do that to Palantir because we don't need any Celsius to get energy, baby. We got energy internally. And so that was fun. But again, those were the moments I think that are going to be memorable in the retail community. And if you were there, you were there. And it was just like this cultural kind of phenomena, which is this guy who has all this attention, 100,000 Substack subscribers, says Palantir's a short. And then you debate him and the dude doesn't even know what an ontology is. And it's like, okay, well, how can you say something is an AI imposter if the technology they've been developing for 20 years, aka the ontology, is the most differentiated element when it comes to AI, and quite frankly, is the only reason LLMs are being valuable in the enterprise? That's the company you say is a fake AI imposter that's a fraud? You know, that was a cultural moment to have that as part of the community. So those are the ups and downs of covering a stock. It's kind of the fun parts of covering a stock. And you know, now we are here at $80, and it's pretty exciting to kind of see how the world has changed and how the momentum has changed. And ultimately, you have to be a little creative at 15 to understand how this could happen. But currently, it is happening right now for Palantir. $80, 5.58% in the pre-markets, $80.60 for Palantir. Market open in about 17 minutes, and we'll see how the market can continue this momentum for Palantir. All right, let's talk about Tesla. Let's talk about Tesla. $397, up 2.13% in the pre-market. We've got some pretty amazing updates on Tesla. What are those updates? Well, number one, Deutsche Bank, which is my favorite bank in the world because I literally love saying that name. I don't know why, but it's just cool saying Deutsche Bank. Shout out to Sachin in the chat. Palantir's $82. Boy, have a 2-minute silence for the shorts. Well, the funny thing is about the shorts are only 4% of the float, because even the shorts know, like this would be the time to short Palantir, right? At $80, $75, $65. This would be the time to like short it. None of the shorts are shorting it. Or otherwise the short float would be increasing exponentially from its current levels. It's not, because people don't want to fuck with them. They know that like it's too scary to mess with Palantir, which is fair. So for those that are still short in the name, you know, it's been tough. But I think a lot of people just realize this is just something we're not going to short. Okay, Tesla. So Deutsche Bank. What did Deutsche Bank say? They're naming Tesla as a key idea for 2025. They raised the price target to $370. Here's what they write. Thinking ahead, we believe healthy balance sheet, cash return potential, self-help potential, restructuring is a key 2025 scheme. Positive catalyst, as well as a more moderate consensus expectations screen is the most attractive to enter the year. We maintain our stance that it is too early for a risk-on move into suppliers and remain overweight OEMs and tires in Europe. On the US side, our view is that investors will seek safe havens where margin expansion and outgrowth are relatively shielded from price and environment-driven headwinds. In this context, we recommend select suppliers and would generally stay on the sidelines from traditional OEMs. We continue to like Tesla into 2025. Key ideas for 2025 are that Tesla will have different catalysts that can propel the stock. Now, what is the reason for why Deutsche Bank felt really comfortable upgrading Tesla to $397? It's a report from their investor conference over the weekend. So here's what happened. This was really interesting, okay? According to reports shared during a Deutsche Bank investor conference by Tesla Investors Relations head Travis Axelrod, the company plans to release the entry-level electric vehicle in the first half of 2025, codenamed Tesla Model Q. Tesla Model Q. It's internally codenamed with Model Q. It's designed with a compact build measuring approximately 3,988 millimeters in length, about 15% smaller than the Model 3. It also weighs 30% less, which significantly enhances its efficiency. So apparently, Deutsche Bank had a meeting with the Tesla IR head, and the Tesla Investors Relations head basically said, yeah, we plan to release this in the first half of 2025. That's not that different from what Elon said on the earnings call 3 months ago. It's pretty much the same thing. But now there's some reports saying, well, it has a model name internally, Model Q. So a lot of people are feeling a lot more excited that, okay, it might not just be a cybercab without the wheel or with the wheel. It might be an entirely different compact vehicle, or maybe the cybercab with the wheel is called the Model Q. And the fact that these code names are being released is giving investors a lot of confidence that says, wait a second, they're like serious. They're not messing around. Like, this is not one of Elon's faulty promises, and it's probably going to be released in 2026. There is a shot, potentially, that Tesla releases a $30,000 or less car in 2025. And if that's the case, that is going to be very exciting. I think that's going to justify a lot of the momentum that we're seeing on Tesla. That's going to drive delivery growth, because if you got rates coming down, Tesla right here at 397, and you have a relatively affordable car. I mean, dude, a Honda Civic right now costs $34,000. If you give a Tesla Model Q for $28,000, $29,000, with rates coming down and FSD free trial, I mean, there's so many ways you could justify massive amounts of deliveries for Tesla, which would increase the vehicle deliveries and increase the potential for FSD to start scaling across all these different clients. I just tried FSD this week. My trial ended yesterday, but I tried it over the past 7 days. I can't imagine life without FSD. It's one of those things where $8,000 sounds kind of expensive, but then you think about all the productivity you can get, all the time you could save with that $8,000, just the relaxation you have in the car with FSD. It changed my perspective. In fact, I'm going to be on Farzad's channel at 12 o'clock today. So right after the market open, I'm going to hop on Farzad's channel. I don't know if it's live. It might be pre-recorded. And I'm going to be talking to him about my skepticism around FSD over the past 2 years and how now it feels like one of the safest things ever. I mean, 2 years ago, I was like, there's no way I would be in a car that's driving itself. And now I'm just like, well, it's not that big of a deal. And I think that transformation is a very realistic transformation that I've had and that a lot of other people have had. It's made me more compelled to buy Tesla stock, but also it's made me realize how like sophisticated AI is becoming, to the point where you technically feel safer inside of a Tesla car than in an Uber driver. Because quite frankly, with FSD, the speed limit was 35 on a road I traditionally drive. And look, sometimes that 35 ends up being 45 for me. Okay. And like when I was doing FSD, it was staying at 35. And just like logically speaking, from first principles, that is safer than me doing 45 and a 35. Because there's just less chances of anything happening. So I think from that perspective, when you realistically think of what can happen with Tesla long term, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of momentum, a lot of safety that's probably going to be built into the neural nets as they get even more sophisticated for the full self-driving version 13.3, 13.5, 14 that ultimately comes out. And that's why Tesla's getting its momentum. That is why Tesla, I think, is currently getting its momentum. Chad, good morning. Thank you for being here as well. Shout out to Chad right here in the chat. Palantir right here in the pre-markets. Again, we just were talking about it. Palantir up 6.08%, still above $80, $80.98. Either we get a little bit of a dump when we open, which tends to happen every time Palantir's up in the pre-markets, or this momentum compounds and we see it go a bit higher. It would have to fall about 1 or 2% to go below $80. But even if it goes to 78, 79, we ended on Friday at 76. So it does seem, or 77.50, we ended after hours. It does seem like that momentum is there in the pre-markets. And then you got Tesla right here up 1.8%, 396 currently right now. So that's what we got in the context of Tesla. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, Elon Musk is tweeting more about Tesla. He's still tweeting about politics and all of his other stuff but he's been actually talking about Tesla, and it hasn't happened for a couple of years in terms of Elon just like being excited to talk about Tesla, like because he's been tweeting about all the other things outside of Tesla. This is why investors have really not liked his Twitter presence or X presence, but that's changing. And I think Elon getting more excited to talk about Tesla as well is also really exciting. Look at this. I mean, he's sharing a video of people doing FSD. Like, he actually is starting to get more excited. And I think, look, I know he's internally been excited probably for the past couple of years, but now publicly, obviously with the momentum, Trump, deregulation around self-driving cars, you're just seeing a different type of Elon who probably is ready to make the next 4 years some of the most legendary years for Tesla long term. So that's what we got with Tesla. Tesla's up in the pre-markets. Palantir's up in the pre-markets. Let's transition into some of the macro stuff we got to talk about along with Bitcoin. But Tesla and Palantir both doing very well. Look, folks, at the end of the day, I posted this a couple months ago, and a lot of people seem to agree with it. And maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong. But over the next 20 years, Tesla and Palantir simply might become the best performing two-stock portfolio of all time. Maybe it is. Maybe it will. Maybe having Tesla and Palantir over the next 2 decades will be the best performing two-stock portfolio of all time. I know a lot of people put MicroStrategy in there and say, well, you're not accounting for Bitcoin. Maybe. But I think Tesla and Palantir long-term, even though they're probably expensive right now, they might end up outperforming over the next 2 decades, which would be pretty exciting. All right, cool. So that's what we got on Palantir and Tesla. Let's see what else we got going on. First of all, some super chats. Rob, thank you for the $10 super chat. Amid FSD will also reduce traffic to being almost non-existent, which is priceless to many people. Also businesses. Yeah, 100%. I agree. When Roy was over my house, he takes a 40-minute drive every day to his job. So it makes sense for him to have FSD because for those 40 minutes, it's really annoying having to drive. And if the traffic is reduced along with your attention being reduced of just like having to focus on the drive itself, that should increase productivity, which is a massive, massive benefit for Palantir or for Tesla as well, and probably for Palantir if just productivity increases for overall GDP growth. Suraj, thank you for the $5 super chat. Amit, did you talk about China yet? Let's talk about China. That transitions us into some macro. So China right here is up 7% in the pre-markets. FXI, the Chinese large internet tech ETF, is currently up 7% right now. And I don't really know why it's up. So I'm going to do a quick search. I was a little preoccupied this morning with Palantir. You know what else I was preoccupied with, dude? My mom, she's taking a day off from work today. And I went downstairs and she was like, I got to talk to you. And I was like, all right, what's up? She's like, I wanted to like text you at 11 p.m. last night, but you were sleeping. I was like, about what? And she was like, so I'm thinking of selling these covered calls on Robinhood. It's just like, what is it? We had like a 30-minute conversation on puts and calls because my mom's been watching videos on YouTube trying to understand it. So like, she's just been like, she's becoming a wheeler, bro. She's like, yeah, I have this 24,000. I'm thinking of doing this and that. It's hilarious, bro. She's loving becoming an investor. And it's so cool, dude. Cause when I was little, my mom was a math teacher. So she used to tutor me, and she would like teach me math and get me to try to understand algebra and shit. And now it's like I'm teaching her, and it's kind of still math. It's derivatives, right? There's a lot of math involved with like percentage returns and like options and all that stuff. And it's so crazy because it's like we've switched it, right? But it is pretty cool that she's getting into this world. Okay, so I don't know why China's up. I did a quick search on Twitter. I have no analysis right here for why China is up. People are saying it's a technical breakout. If anyone knows in the chat why it's up, let me know. There might be some level of stimulus that the market is thinking is happening for China. What Reuters is saying, the monetary policy is going to imply more easing is coming, but like we've known that for the past couple of weeks. So I don't know what they announced today that would implicate that we're going to get more quantitative easing. But if they announce something that makes the market feel there's going to be more quantitative easing, then that's good for China, and that's why it's up 7% right now. Look, in general, America's expensive. Okay, Alibaba's up 7% right now. Neo's up 7.385%. JD, they did get upgraded today, but they're up another 9% right here. America's expensive. There's not that many parts of the world that have a lot of growing economies. China doesn't really have the best growing economy, but they're stimulating. So if America's expensive and China's relatively cheap, I mean, Alibaba's fair value is quite frankly $250, not $91, given how much cash they have. If China keeps stimulating and the market likes the stimulus, then I think China's probably going to do better. Again, the question is, do you want to take the CCP risk? Some people do, some people don't. And if you want to take that risk, then that's why China's up. If you don't want to take that risk, then that's why China is currently down. Or it could go down, right? And we saw that happen back in September. Confirmed stimulus, yeah, it seems like that's what's happening, where you're getting a lot more of confirmed stimulus. Okay, so that's what we got going on with China right here. That's up 7% currently in the pre-market. It's Grab. This is a name I've been building a position in, 520. That's about 1.36%. Again, they got downgraded last week, but the downgrade was basically, hey, the shares are moving up too fast. So I don't think it was that big of a downgrade. But that one currently up 1.36%. Palantir 6.6%, $81 in the pre-market. Tesla right here up 1.87%. Let's take a look at some of the Mag 7 names, and then we'll get a little bit more into macro. Apple's down about 25 bips. Microsoft's down 35 bips. Meta is up a little bit. Meta had a great day on Friday. TikTok looks like it's getting banned, even though Trump wants to save it. He said that on Meet the Press on Sunday. Meta right here at 624. They're also investing $10 billion into a data center. So the market's getting excited for the AI ROI they can achieve, along with the fact that TikTok is going to give Meta a crap ton of users for Instagram if it does indeed end up getting band. Google right here down about 16 bips. Amazon down 39 bips, but Amazon broke out last week. It was up 227, up 3%, all-time high. NVIDIA down 2.4%. I think there's a reason why NVIDIA is down, and it has to do with China, ironically. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then Tesla right here is up currently 2%. S&P 500, I believe, is at all-time highs. S&P 500 at 607. You got QQQ at 525. That's down about 0.13%. And then you have IWM currently right here at 240, up about 0.7%. With some of these small caps. Now let's talk about SoFi and PayPal and what's happening there. So PayPal is up 2%, finally breaking above $90 for the first time in a couple of years, which is incredible. Why is that happening? Well, Bank of America upgraded PayPal. And they upgraded them primarily on the idea that there is going to be increased free cash flow growth, which is why the market is getting excited for PayPal. Now, at the same time, Bank of America downgraded SoFi. And I don't have the sell side report on why they downgraded SoFi. So someone, if you guys know, please let me know. But SoFi is recovering. It was down 5%. Now it's down 1%. The price target is $12 on the downgrade. Again, I don't know exactly why they downgraded them, but they did indeed downgrade. Bank of America's target for PayPal is $103. And that's their price target. For SoFi, it is $12. And again, Bank of America downgrade seems like that is what's happening. Oh, I got the report. Let's go through the report real quick. Here we go. Someone posted it. I got the report right here. Let's see if it's a real downgrade or if there is a dumb reason for it. Overvalued after a 100% 3-month move. Okay, so SoFi is overvalued to Bank of America. SoFi is up 120% over the last 3 months compared to 11% move in the S&P 500, in part due to Trump election and favorable 3Q results. Fair value concern resurfaces. In our recent investor conversations, there has been increasing focus on fair value marks and movements, especially related to hedging activities. 3Q hedge losses of $273 million, including a spread impact of $150 million, raises concerns that hedge losses could increase with further rate cuts and potentially increase volatility, aka their net interest income margins would go down. The higher fair value marks will also be amortized, which pressures non-interest income. Separately, the tech segment growth was guided down due to deals and partnerships taking a longer term expectation to close, while SoFi noted that deals have not been lost. Visibility on revenue acceleration is less clear. Okay, so essentially they're saying net interest income margins will go down as rates come down. That's not the biggest deal in the world to me because loan origination volumes should go up. So that should hopefully try to cover at least some of the net interest income that they lose. And then the tech platform, look, that's a fair point. You can't blame Bank of America for being upset that the tech platform is not showing growth and that they're kind of confused about what to do with the tech platform. We got the market open in about 2 minutes, but I do think that if the tech platform shows any level of growth, then SoFi will do better. And quite frankly, if the tech platform doesn't show any growth, I still think SoFi will do good in 2025, hopefully getting to about $20. I think $25 is a more realistic price target if they keep beating on earnings. So look, it's a downgrade. It's a kind of downgrade. You got the stock down 2%. Maybe it tanks a little bit more, but I do think that dip gets bought if it gets closer to 15 or into those high 14s as well. Robinhood as well in the pre-markets, currently at 41.40, down about 0.65%. We did get the first $41 close ever, or in the past 3 years. Robinhood was not included into the S&P 500, but they did get a $41 close. The S&P 500 committee chose Workday and Apollo Global on Friday instead of Robinhood. They did get upgraded by Barclays. Benjamin Buddish, who has been the most bearish on Robinhood all year, upgraded them from $26 to $49. I'm going to make a list on Twitter over the next couple of hours of like all the upgrades we've got, but almost every upgrade is entering into the $45 to $50 range. Pretty much all the analysts are believing that the growth is kind of unstoppable and that it's inevitable right here. And that's why Palantir, well, that's why Robin is getting momentum, trying to act like Palantir, but also Palantir is gaining a ton of momentum as well. And that's what you got in the pre-markets for some of these names that are in the financial services space. All right, we got about 10 seconds, folks. All eyes on Palantir. Let's see what's going to happen. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. It has been a hell of a journey, a hell of a ride. 9:30 a.m. Monday, December 9th. The stock market is now open. That bell was extra long to celebrate $80. Wake your ass up. Here we go. We have opened at $80 a share on Palantir. We are just dipping below $80. We are still up 4%, $79.64 on Palantir. $79.64, $79.85, up about 4.6%. Nope, back to 80, back to 80, back to 80. 80 resistance is not acting like it's a big hurdle right now. Palantir right back to 80. There you go, 79.82. So teetering around that 79.80, $80 range for Palantir. We'll go back to Palantir in just a second. Tesla at 397. Tesla's up 1.95%. NEO is up 8.4%. Grab is up 1%. JD.com up 9.7%. FXI China large cap ETF is up 6.9%. SoFi is down 1.6%. PayPal is up 2.3%. IWM small caps are up 81 bips. Robinhood is down 0.14%, now down about 0.07%. 41.64 on Robinhood. Look at Palantir, $80.22. We are getting above $80. People are buying Palantir Technologies at $80.50. Let me check the $81 resistance, which it looks like we're getting kind of close to. 25,000 shares at 81. 25,000 shares at 81 for Palantir. NVIDIA getting hit. NVIDIA's down 3%. All right, why is NVIDIA down 3%? Let me try to figure out. Why is NVIDIA down 3%? What is happening right here? NVIDIA shares drop after China opens investigation over possible violation of anti-monopoly law. See, this is why China is kind of insane. China is trying to stimulate their economy. You know what you don't do when you're trying to stimulate your economy? Not isolate other companies from doing business in your economy. And so if you're going to isolate NVIDIA by investigating them for being a monopoly, which, by the way, of course they're a monopoly. They're the only ones with these freaking GPUs. Like, duh, yeah, they're a monopoly. I think this is just like the dumbest thing China could be doing right now. But nonetheless, it's hurting NVIDIA more than China. NVIDIA right here, 138 down 2.55%. And you're seeing it take a little bit of a hit. Palantir now falling below $80, 79.33. I think we will have a chance to be back there. We were about to break 81. So unless the sell side pressure becomes too hard, Palantir could potentially get back to 80. Palantir is now a $180.5 billion market cap. 17.87 million shares have been traded in the first 2 minutes of the market open. ASTS is up right now because they got a deal, a 10-year deal with Vodafone to launch satellites, and that's why that stock is currently up right now. The space sector continues to get more momentum. They also got approved for testing in the UK with Vodafone, and that's why they are currently up right now as the market opens. Rocket Lab, also a space play, is down 4%. I don't know why Rocket Lab's down 4%, but space is going to ASTS today, not Rocket Lab, in terms of the increased momentum. Tesla, $399. We are 7 cents away from 400. 399.84. We are just, let me check the resistance at 400 real quick. Palantir 79.23. Tesla resistance is at 400. Oh my God, we're 6 cents away. It should be happening. It should be happening. Oh, well, okay. It's going to be a little hard. 223,000 shares, folks. Not impossible, but we're going to need some buyers to break that wall down and get 400 on Tesla. But it will be so cool to see 400 on Tesla. Yeah, that's where you're seeing Tesla get hit right here, 398. 220,000 shares, I think it can happen, but that is the amount of shares that you have currently right now in Tesla. And that's why it's going down. Archer Aviation, let's take a look at them. Archer is down 7%. Again, very volatile name. If you're in this name, you're betting on potential more than earnings. That one went up like 20% last week. It's down 7% today. MongoDB, they have earnings today. They're up 5%. Celsius is up 1.67%. Square, I have a friend who's getting kind of excited about Square. Square right here is down about 1.93%. HIMS is up a little bit, 34.50. Apple's up to 242. Reddit's up 5% because they got upgraded again, and they're using a chatbot now internally. There was some headline. We'll get that in a second. Reddit's up almost 400% year to date. The covered call premiums on Reddit are absolutely incredible, but the stock's up a lot if you do buy shares year to date. Reddit right here up now 5% on the day. Verizon is up. MP is up a little bit. Nubank is up 1.64%. NVIDIA now down 3%. Robinhood down about 1%, 41.27. SoFi right here. SoFi getting hit. Nasty downgrade, down 5%, 15.27 right here. Tesla 398, still not above 400. And Palantir right here at 79.15 currently right now. Oracle 193. They have earnings after the bell. Oracle has earnings after the bell. So today we'll be looking at Oracle after the bell. Oracle is up like 60% year to date. So you would imagine they have some good earnings. If they don't, we could see a little bit of a hit. But if they have good earnings, the AI thematic could do them very, very well. Where's Grab? Are we moving on Grab? Are we moving? Up 2% on Grab. Not bad. 524. We were there last week. We fell to like 509 last week or something after getting to 524. I think we hit 530 last week as well. Yeah, 530. 524, the Grab is up about 2% currently right now. Target is up 2.24%. Not bad, from 120 to 135. DocuSign right here down 2%. Went from 57 to 100 over the past couple months. Google right here at 173. Arc Innovation at 63. Where is MSTR? MicroStrategy did buy 21,000 Bitcoin. Oh my God, we're at 400. Oh my God, MicroStrategy at 387. Tesla, there you go, folks. 400. $400 on Tesla. It is about 4% or less than 4% away from all-time highs at 414. However, even though 414 is the all-time high because of dilution and like the shares and all that stuff and inflation over the past couple of years, Tesla has now achieved their highest market cap ever at $1.29 trillion currently on Tesla. So it's an all-time high in market cap, not an all-time high in price, but I would say still that's basically an all-time high. Tesla right here, $400. Absolutely incredible for Tesla, up 3.5%. This is Elon's year. This is Elon's year, or I think 2025 is going to be Elon's year. Elon's just getting a little bit of a head start as we end out the month of December. Look at Tesla right here, 403. I mean, this stock was hated all year. I mean, for anyone who's in this stock and has a substantial position, you deserve the gains. Year to date, Tesla is now up 62%. At one point, it was the only Mag 7 that was red. It was the only Mag 7 that was red all year. And as you can see right here, around June, we went from 170 to 250, came all the way back down to 191. And then basically from October after Trump was elected, boom, there you go. $404 currently on Tesla. And now if Tesla, like Palantir, starts normalizing new levels, Palantir trying to normalize the $70 range, Tesla normalizing the 400s, you're going to get people that are going to say, you know what? I need exposure. I'm going to be buying it at $400. And that's what we could see that's happening. Tesla right here, 403. Oh, if we end the year at 420.69, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. ELF right here. Wow, look at ELF up 5%. Muddy Waters Research put out a short report on ELF a couple of weeks ago. That short report so far has not worked out. Tesla right here at 403 and ELF Beauty at 147 currently right now. Rocket Lab. Why is Rocket Lab down 7%? What the hell is going on with Rocket Lab? No idea why they're down. SoFi's down on the downgrade, 3.8%. PayPal's up 3.4%. PayPal finally getting some much needed momentum after a relatively boring year. From the lows, I believe PayPal's up about 95%. So if you held on, PayPal's been doing very well. FXI China still doing well, up 7.5%. iBit's down about 2%. Palantir 79.23. SoundHound is down 3%. They were up 15% on Friday. Nubank is up 1.97%. Verizon is up a little bit. Grab right here, 1.56. Oracle is up 0.65%. Some of the crypto names are, all the crypto names are red. Riot's down 10%. I don't know why. Did they do a dilution? They might have done an at-the-money offering. CleanSpark's down 2%. Coinbase is down 3%. MicroStrategy's down 1.5%. Robinhood's down about 0.65%. BitX down about 5%. Bitcoin right here down about 25 bips at 99,272 currently right now. Archer, did they recover? Archer is still down 8%. Archer is down as well. Enphase, let's take a look at Enphase. Enphase is up 4%. Enphase is up 4%, whereas CrowdStrike is at 364. They're down a little bit. Palo Alto Networks is also up 407. They are up about 0.47%. Rocket Lab's down, so Matt can buy more. Yeah, probably. But seriously, why is it down 7%? What's going on? Do they have a bad launch or something? Like, that's weird. 7% doesn't feel technical. It feels like there was some news that got these guys. Rocket Lab, that's down. No, I don't see any news. Maybe it is technical. Maybe the ASTS news is bad for Rocket Lab because Rocket Lab didn't get the deal, ASTS did. But then again, I don't think Rocket Lab was in the bidding to get the deal. So I don't think that's bad for Rocket Lab. I think that just means more momentum is happening in space, which is, like, in my opinion, good for the entire industry. Tesla right at 400, trying to fight for 400 and keep it. Closing above 400 is now going to be the new thing for Tesla. Can they get that close above 400 again? They were upgraded by Deutsche Bank to $397 this morning from $260 or $250. So they did get that upgrade. Robinhood right here, 41.75. Robinhood going green. Also, Robinhood starting Gold Monday today. I have no idea what Gold Monday is. Let's see if they have an update on that. But there's some promotion going on today called Gold Monday. And no one knows what it is other than it's starting today. So I'm assuming in a couple of hours, we're going to know what their new promotion is for Gold Monday. And we'll see that for Rocket Lab. Lucid right here. What's Lucid doing? Lucid's up 8% currently right now. Rocket Lab down about 8.5%. It's getting worse for Rocket Lab. Enphase right here up 3.25%. Alpha's up. Uber, by the way, has been getting destroyed. Uber had its worst week in 3 years last week, going to $65. I think it's really weird. I don't think Tesla's going to kill Uber, but I think Tesla's going to kill the perception of why Uber is valuable. And so Uber as a company will be around But if the growth perception goes away because the robotaxi is going to take over the necessity to call Uber, which I don't think is happening for at least 4 to 5 years. Like, I think there's some time before that happens. I guess the market's pricing in those 4 to 5 years early, and they're saying, you know what, we're not gonna allow ourselves to get caught up in a story that might end up not being worth anything in 5 years. So that's why Uber is currently getting hit. The numbers are amazing on Uber. I think it's very undervalued here, but you've got to buy it with the idea that the market really thinks Tesla is going to take their lunch. And that's how the two stocks are trading right now. Rivian is up 9% right now. Not sure why Rivian's up, but Rivian's getting a little bit of love right here, up 9%, as Tesla is up as well. Chris says Google and Tesla will be the main suppliers of autonomous driving. Yeah, I mean, look, Google, Waymo raised $5.6 billion, which means I don't know what the valuation is on Waymo, but if they raise that $5 billion, if you put even a basic 10x multiple, that's a $50 billion company. If you put a 20x multiple, which is a little bit more reasonable, you know, maybe they're trading at 100 billion. So Waymo right there, definitely that's good for Google. Waymo's doing about 150,000 paid rides a week. You can just imagine when Tesla really solves FSD and begins to scale. If that goes to 200,000-300,000 rides a week, that's a lot of rides that are not going to Uber. And I think that's why the market is scared right now about what the value proposition is currently on taking a chance or taking a risk right here on Uber. SMCI. So SMCI, the reason SMCI is up is because they got an extension by the NASDAQ to till February 25th to file all their forms. So basically SMCI still hasn't filed their earnings yet. So I don't know why the stock is up, because they get an extra 2 months to file their earnings, but apparently that's bullish, which technically it is bullish, but it's also just this is a public company that has not been able to file their forms. So, people are happy that they have a couple more months to file their forms. They have a new accounting partner. Maybe they can get those expedited, but that is why SMCI is up right now, currently 5% as the market opens. Volume of 21 million shares, market cap of 27 billion. SMCI is up more than 100% from the lows at 17, but it's down about 50% from the highs at 120 earlier this year. AMD is getting hit as well, probably because NVIDIA is getting hit. Wow, AMD. This one has been a crappy buy for a lot of people at the high 130s. A lot of people thought that was the bottom. Apparently, this NVIDIA news today is not bullish for AMD. If NVIDIA is getting investigated, AMD is not going to have a good time. So let's take a look at the semis. Kind of a mixed bag. Intel's up a little bit. AMD's down. NVIDIA's down. Broadcom's down. They have earnings on Wednesday, I believe. TSM is down. Qualcomm's down. Marvell is down. ARM is up a little bit. Dell is down. Dell also got hit badly from earnings at 140 to 122. But NVIDIA right here down about 2.2% on China investigation currently today. Where is NEO? NEO is up 14%, $5 on NEO. NEO was at $4 in the pre-markets, $5.28 as the market opens, up 14% currently right now on NEO. Where's Lyft? If Uber is getting hit, Lyft is up, huh? So I guess investors think Lyft is more undervalued compared to Uber, and that's why they're willing to buy a bit of Lyft instead of Uber right here. Michael Saylor is talking to Dave Portnoy. Oh, that's going to be great. Those clips are going to be great. Dave Portnoy trying to understand MicroStrategy's convertible debt offerings is going to be great. That's going to be must-watch TV. MicroStrategy right here at $391. Where is Hoodie? Hoodie's at $41.54. Hoodie's at $41.54. By the way, I made an announcement this weekend. We are starting Robinhood Weekly on the channel. So for those that are junkies for some good old Robinhood updates every single week, I'm starting with Tanner and Roy, 9:30 p.m. Today's going to be our first episode every Monday, 9:30. We are officially starting the show. I think it's time. I think the market opportunity is presenting itself to Robinhood. There's more than enough news every single week to talk about. There is a thriving community that has bought into the vision of Robinhood. And it does seem like their growth is living up to expectations and, quite frankly, going much beyond expectations. So 9:30 every Monday, we will be doing Robinhood Weekly on the channel. And for those interested, hopefully you guys enjoy. All right, so where is Rocket Lab right now? Rocket Lab, oh my God, why does it, every freaking 2 minutes it's down another 1%. Now it's down 9%. 9% currently right now. It is getting hit. It is getting hit. So you got Rocket Lab going down about 9% right here. Where's Nike? Let's take a look at Nike. Nike is at 78.74, down about 0.19%. Uber right here down about 0.15. Where's Tesla? Are we still above 400? All right, so Tesla, you have the sellers coming at 404. Tesla at 395. Where's Palantir? Are we trying to hold? All right, Palantir's getting hit, 78.20. So we couldn't hold 80, but there was a lot of buying pressure in the pre-markets, and there was a ton of buying pressure in the first 5 minutes. 32 million shares, $178 billion market cap. I know I'm being a little bit greedy. Saying where is 80 at $178 billion market cap, but still You know, it would be nice to see 80 again. So let's see. Maybe we get 80 on Palantir. Amit, do you hold Amazon? I do not hold Amazon. That is a big DCA candidate for 2025. Amazon is probably going to 300 in the next year and a half. Amazon right here at 229, up 1.15%. And the reason I say that, my argument is very simple. There's a lot of components to the thesis, but operating margins are going up. And this is a company that for many years could not make money, but was valued at a ridiculous multiple, kind of what people are saying about Palantir right now. But the reason investors kept buying it was because they knew eventually those investments would pay off, just like investors are believing the growth will happen for Palantir. And now Amazon's making money because their operating margins are at 11%. Historically, they used to be at 6%. If those operating margins get to 15%, they're going to be printing net income over the next 5 years. And AWS not slowing down means that I think Amazon definitely has, a really good growth story into the next couple of years. Alibaba right here up 7% on the day. Bitcoin 99,800, trying to get back into that 100,000 level. Palantir 77.75. So now Palantir falling below $78. Lululemon is at 411. This stock, let me check how it is year to date. This stock was down 50% at one point. Pretty nice recovery. It's still down 18% because they were at 470 in March, but they went all the way to 236. So you're seeing the consumer kind of come back on Lululemon. And that's why it's right here at $412. AppLovin is down 10%. The reason AppLovin is down is because they did not get into the S&P 500. This stock was up 900% year to date. It pumped another 10% on Friday, basically on the idea that they would get into the S&P 500. They did not get into the S&P 500, and that's why they're down. Robinhood also, I think, gapped up a little bit on Friday because there were expectations to get into the S&P 500, but because of Robinhood's growth, not getting into the S&P 500 is not that big of a deal because fundamentals are controlling the stock more than external factors. And that's why Robinhood is green right now, even though they did not get into the S&P 500 on Friday. Ty Gordon said, I went long on AMD via AMDL on this dip. So that is a leveraged fund, I believe. Yep, that's 2x AMD. So that's down about 5.96% currently because AMD is down about 3%. Are you growing your grab position? Yes, I have 2,455 shares. I want to get that to 10,000, but I am trying to grow that position as I can. I think by January, we'll get to that 10,000 shares that I want to get, and then the position will be built out. Hopefully we stay kind of in this $5.25 range. And yeah, look, I think Grab's a winner. I could be wrong. I think I'm being pretty conservative on my price targets. I'm saying $10 in 2 years. So a double, which is a hell of a return, I think is amazing in 2 years, but I do think it'll take time to get there. It's not going to be like Rocket Lab that goes from 3 to 28 in 5 months. I don't have any of those expectations, but they're profitable and their TAM is growing. Their EBITDA margins are growing. Management increased guidance. They're buying back their shares. Institutional holdings are very large. I think Grab's going to be good. They just have to continue growing EBITDA, net income, and free cash flow. And if they do that, I think they'll be in a good situation. Amit, have you bought your Tesla shares yet? No, I have not. Guys, I don't have liquidity. I don't have cash. I'm waiting until January to get cash. I have no cash. Everything I have, every dollar I have, like I almost went negative on my Bank of America checking account yesterday. Like I don't have money. My money is in the markets. And in January, we'll be selling some of the levered Robinhood positions, not the stock, not my Palantir stock, but the Robinhood options. That should create a decent level of liquidity for me. That was kind of the bet this year, kind of go in on 2 names, lever up one of those names with options. If it works out, I change my life. If it doesn't work out, then hopefully I'm 27, I can recover. It looks like it worked out, and it has indeed changed my life. So in January, when I officially sell, as long as Robinhood doesn't tank to $25, which I don't think will happen, hopefully, knock on wood, then we'll have some more money. And then we will start buying some of these other names. I told you guys I'm gonna have to buy Tesla at 400. And it looks like that's what's gonna happen. Bitcoin at 100K. Are we at 100K at Bitcoin? Yeah, there you go. Back to 100. Back to 100K. On Bitcoin. Oh, Grinder, by the way. Hold on. Grinder, I think. Okay, it was at 1633 in the pre-markets. Grinder is doing good, baby. Grinder. All I'm saying is Grinder is doing good. Grinder is doing good. Bitcoin right here at 100,000 currently right now. RX is up 14% as well. That is up there. So RX, this is a pharmaceutical name, I think, that has been getting some momentum. That one's up 15%. Bitcoin at 100,000. Where is MSTR? MSTR is at 398. That's up about 1%. MSTR trying to get back to 400. Is SoFi still down? SoFi is still down, but it's recovering. It was down 5%. Now it's down 2.66%. Currently right now. Couch Investor sold all of his Palantir. That is correct. I saw his video yesterday. Couch Investor believes that the valuation is becoming unsustainable. I don't blame him. I just personally have a different perspective. I think if you're in a generational company, like my question is, look, if your average is like 21 bucks, right? And Palantir goes from 80 to 40. If you believe it'll get back to 80 and it'll surpass 80, the question becomes, are you really going to feel like crap for not selling at 80, knowing that the floor might end up being 40? If you sold and your average was 20, you're never going to get back to 20 again, theoretically, right? Let's say it doesn't go back to 20. So what's the reason of selling and taking the tax event and then, you know, having to potentially find your way to time it to get back into Palantir? Now, if you're selling a part of your position, I understand. If you're selling all of it with the intention of getting back in after a massive collapse, I just have a fundamental paradigmatic disagreement that I don't think we're going back to 20 bucks. Could I see us going back to 40? If things get really bad, yeah, but I kind of think 55 to 60, and I know that's crazy, but I kind of think that's where the dip is, because the amount of money on the sidelines waiting to get Palantir at a cheaper price is unheard of, obviously because of how the brand has increased. And if they reaccelerate revenue growth, you damn bet on any dip, people are going to be buying Palantir. So from that perspective, I think, look, at the end of the day, there is a lot of momentum in it. And that's why I wouldn't sell everything, but I can understand people wanting to take profits and, you know, take a little bit of money off the table. Couch Investor is based in Belgium, so he doesn't have a tax problem. Oh, that's true. He doesn't. Okay, so he doesn't have to deal with the taxes. So that's good for him. Look, again, I don't blame him. I don't blame anyone who's selling out of their position fully. I just personally, given my conviction in the company, I don't want to get out of, you know, the stock fully, and I'm ready to deal with the downturns. And I think Tesla's a testament to this. If you bought Tesla at 50 bucks and it ran to 400 in 2021, and then it came all the way back to 100, I mean, you were still up because you had bought so early. So now you're back to 400. You have to wait a couple of years. But if you got to DCA over those couple of years and increase your position on something you want to, you know, potentially hold for the next 20 years, then I think it just creates less stress than trying to get in and out of some of these names. And that's kind of my philosophy right here in the context of Palantir. Robinhood, $41.98. Let me read you guys the upgrade by Benjamin Buddish. That is his name, Benjamin Buddish from Citibank. Here's what he said this morning for Robinhood, and then we'll get into some more macro stuff and talk about kind of where we see markets going in 2025. So Barclays says, we are increasingly confident in the longer-term roadmap. The company has laid out a unique opportunity set in terms of both product and geographic expansion. Additionally, we see conditions that have benefited the company over the course of the fiscal year 2024, such as higher for longer rates and constructive equity markets, as set to continue or improve, particularly in crypto. Basically saying, hey, you know, retail is still going to be trading. Retail is still going to be using the product. Robinhood has all these different product verticals. They're very confident in the long-term roadmap of the company. Upgrading them from 26 to 49 is a hell of an upgrade because, again, Barclays has been equal weight for the majority of the year. They just went to overweight. And based on that investor day, they're kind of saying, yeah, man, this thing is real. And the growth is real. It's hard to deny it. You got to double our price targets. And that's what we're seeing currently right now in the context of Robinhood. Passion Planet, thank you for the 6969 super chat. I love that super chat. Amid last distraction, I swear. I told you a long time ago about quantum computers being the next logical step after AI. Have you seen companies like QBTS and IONQ per play quantum companies? Thoughts? If none, do your due diligence, please. So I've thought about quantum computing. I have not done any realistic due diligence. These names have done very well. I do think these names are trading a little bit more on sentiment than on fundamentals. However, I do think there is a fundamental argument. IONQ was $11 3 months ago. It's at 36, so it's obviously had a very good run in the quantum computing space. I can't really say that I believe in it or I don't believe it because I haven't done the due diligence. One fear I do have, which is a fear by Steve that I think is a real fear, Google and Amazon are spending a lot of money on quantum computing research. You know, does the other quantum computing names kind of have the money to spend and the wherewithal to break through from what Google and Amazon are doing? Now, although that's a bear case, I don't think that's the biggest bear case, because these guys are probably doing something that's a little bit more niche and specific. And if anything, Google and Amazon might just buy these guys. So I think there's an argument. I haven't done the research, but I do believe that quantum computing has a level of excitement because a lot of AGI might end up happening because of quantum computers. And that's why you're seeing the market get a bit more excited for those stocks. Bitcoin right here at 100,280 currently right now. Amazon goes green at 228. Robinhood at 41.97. NEO's up 14%. AMD still down at 2.96%. NVIDIA currently going down as well. NVIDIA right here, 139. It's recovering a little bit, got a green candle from 137, but it is down at 139.88, 1.83% on the day for NVIDIA. Enphase is up. Yep, Enphase is up. I was actually, I was on the phone with our boy Vitaly yesterday. I called him. We were talking about his Enphase position, and Vitaly's done very well on Bitcoin. Vitaly's done very well on Tesla. Obviously, those names have done well for him. But Enphase is one of the names that even he admitted, he probably should have sold some more at the top. However, he is still long. He thinks the company will be fine over the next decade. I think they will too. I don't think, they're going out of business or anything. And I do obviously think the multiple on them is incredibly cheap for their growth. It's just, do you think they're going to grow over the next 4 years with Trump? Maybe not as much as they were growing a couple of years ago. So for Enphase, if you're getting in, it's kind of one of those things where you're just hoping solar catches a tailwind, and that might take some time in order for it to happen over the next decade. Rivian right here. Where is Rivian? Rivian up 12%. Let me see if there's any news on Rivian. RIVN is 20% short interest. Oh, they got raised to $18. Price target $18. Rivian is raised to $18 from, I don't know which firm. Oh, Benchmark. Benchmark is raising them to $18. That's why Rivian's up right now. Okay, so there you go. That's the logic for Rivian. So you got a bunch of upgrades coming today and some downgrades that are affecting some of these stocks. Tesla at 398 and Palantir at 79. I think Palantir wants 80 again, and I think Tesla wants 400 again. Might take a little bit of time, but we got a long day. Bitcoin back to 100,440. Robinhood right here at 41.87. Amazon 228. Grab at 522. AMD 134. SMCI up 4% at $45.80. Reddit doing very well right here. 175, up 8% on the day. Goodness gracious. Reddit is getting a decent amount of love. Where's Ethereum? Has Ethereum done well? Ethereum was at 4,000 yesterday. 3,900. So Ethereum kind of catching up from the slack when it was at 3,100 2 weeks ago. KWeb, China ETF. That's up as well. Up 10.79% currently on the day. So KWeb's doing well. China stimulus looks like investors are getting a bit more excited for that stimulus and how that is ultimately affecting the stock. Now, we did have Trump, who said a bunch of stuff over the weekend. Trump did an interview with Meet the Press, his first interview since getting elected to be the president. And he said a bunch of things. Real quick, before we talk about that, Iran on Bitcoin is embracing Bitcoin. Iran will embrace Bitcoin and crypto with a regulatory framework instead of banning them, said the Minister of Economic Affairs. The Russia minister also said the same thing. So you got Russia and China that are now Russia and Iran getting pretty bullish. China, by the way, owns 194,000 Bitcoin. I didn't even know that, but apparently they own 194,000 Bitcoin. They are getting more bullish for Bitcoin. And the fact that a Middle Eastern country that doesn't really believe in that much when it comes to freedom, like Iran, embracing Bitcoin, it goes to show that all these countries are saying, all right, how do we make money off of this versus how do we, be afraid of this if this is inevitable. And then you had MicroStrategy today buying 21,550 Bitcoin for $2.1 billion, average cost of 98,783. They own 2% of all the Bitcoin on the planet, 423,000 Bitcoin at an average price of $60,000 a coin. Michael Saylor did hint that he was probably going to be buying Bitcoin tomorrow last night when he tweeted about it. And now MicroStrategy continued to buy some Bitcoin. So that's what we got in the context of some of the Bitcoin news. Now, some headlines from Trump. Number one, Trump said he's interested in increasing the minimum wage in 19 states that all voted Republican, voted for Trump, where the minimum wage is $7.25. It has not changed since 2009. Trump said he doesn't know what the appropriate wage would be, but he does believe that the minimum wage should increase in some of those states. So potentially we might see some legislation for the minimum wage to go higher in 2025. Additionally, Oppenheimer, they put out their S&P 500 target. Last week, Deutsche Bank said, we're going to do 7,000. Tom Lee has not released his target yet. We're going to probably see it in the next couple days. Oppenheimer says 7,100 in 2025. This is the most bullish target on the street. What did they say? 10% earnings growth for 2025 with S&P earnings projected at 275. A forward multiple of 25.8. That is very bullish. AI advancements, which they call for a watershed moment, driving productivity gains across all 11 sectors. They also pointed to a resilient economic growth, sector rotation, job creation as signs of a broadening bull market that could climb the wall of worry into 2025. Preferred sectors include tech, communications, consumer discretionary, financials, industrials, with small and mid-cap stocks also expected to rally as the Fed cut rates. AI's impact could mirror the rise of the automobile in the 1920s, Oppenheimer notes, highlighting its transformative potential for the economy. So if Oppenheimer is saying, hey guys, we think AI is as important as the automobile in 2025? Productivity gains, margin increases, EPS growth. I mean, yeah, it's going to be really hard to be bearish. Now, having said that, I know that a lot of people get upset or at least get scared or cautious. They get some anxiety is the better word when everyone is super bullish. Tesla at 398, Palantir at 78.85. However, and I talked about this yesterday on the Sunday Future Show, there's a really easy way to get a little bullish when everyone's getting bearish, and that's by recognizing that not everyone is necessarily bullish. Because money market funds added $95 billion of inflows last week. The fact that the stock market hit an all-time high and that Bitcoin hit 104,000 last week, and that people still found $95 billion to put in a risk-free asset that gives you a 4.5% return like money market funds is unbelievable. I mean, it is incredible. It means there is so much money that is coming out of the woodworks, or it means that people are selling and new money is entering the market and old money is leaving, taking their profits and putting it into something safe like money market funds. The point is money's out there, whether it's new money coming in or money leaving high yield savings accounts, money leaving crypto markets, even though new people are entering crypto markets, there is money that is out there. And it goes to show that $6.77 trillion staying on the sidelines just means that when markets show a nasty dip, maybe a 5 to 10%, you've got a lot of money that's going to say, okay, that's my opportunity to get in. And if that's the playbook for 2025, then a lot of these dips just might end up being eaten up. Palantir right here, 78.95. Tesla right here at 397. And where is NVIDIA currently right now? NVIDIA is at 139. NVIDIA trying to recover right here, down about 1.87% on the day. Where's McDonald's? Where's McDonald's? McDonald's 299. So McDonald's has been doing okay as kind of a consumer staple. Celsius right here, 29.17. Intel has just been a mess ever since the CEO left. It was a mess before that, but it got worse when the CEO left in terms of the stock perception. Shopify right here at 117. GameStop has earnings this week. They're at $29. I am surprised that of all the companies that are buying Bitcoin on the balance sheet, GameStop not buying it is, I think, a missed opportunity, because GameStop has $5 billion in cash or $4 billion in cash. They could have bought like $500 million of Bitcoin back in July, and I think the stock would be at like $50. So that is weird that they didn't do that. NVIDIA right here at 139, Reddit at 179, and Rivian currently up 14%, $14.82. Is Marathon down? Let's see. Is Marathon down? Marathon is down 3%. Again, the Bitcoin treasury thing, it can collapse the premium if Bitcoin does not go up as much as the market wants it to go up. MicroStrategy as well down currently right now at $391. All right, so that's what we got going on kind of around the horn with everything else here. In terms of other macro updates, I think those are some of the main headlines that we had currently this morning. Let's see if there's any other big headlines. I am interested in Tom Lee's projection for 2025. I think we're going to see his price target soon. I think he's going to go 7,300. I think he's going to go closer to 7,300. And he might end up being right if we see the growth that the market's expecting to see in 2025, along with a deregulation environment with Trump. I think it's definitely going to be above 7,000. The question is going to be at what level does he end up issuing a price target, or at least saying that the market has momentum to even get there. Joby's up right now. Yeah, Archer's getting hit. I don't know why Archer's down. I don't know if they got a downgrade or anything, but they're recovering. They were down 8%. Now they're down 4%. Joby right here is up 2%. Okay, so Joby kind of going the opposite of Archer. Usually it swings in the same direction. Palantir at 78 is a dip now. It's crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Here's another clip by Karp over the weekend speaking about the US AI revolution. He believes that the entire market is ultimately going into the United States. And because Palantir's biggest market is the United States, that's why Palantir is optimized to try to increase more of their market share in the United States currently right now.
I would say one thing that gets somewhat lost in these results is America is in the very beginning of a revolution that we own, the AI revolution. And we own it. It should basically be called the US AI revolution. Every single relevant company in the world is in this country. The second tier of those companies are in this country. The JV of these companies are in this country. There is no other place to do technology really at scale besides America right now. And Europe is basically decided to regulate its basically anemic and non-existent tech scene out of production. All those people want to come to America. The American tech community is booming. And so, you know, behind all of this is a macro backdrop of, you know, this is actually a revolution. It's very hard to see now because it's kind of the beginning innings, and a lot of these large language models incorrectly applied are just science projects. But if you have the right layer to implement them, you can actually transform your business in days. And this is happening across America. And it's not happening anywhere else. It's not happening in Europe. No one's who wants to build a company in China or Russia. It's happening right here. And that macro trend is going to change everything that we do. Everyone in this room, every trend, war and peace, how we fight, where we fight, are humans fighting, are they not fighting? How do we code those decisions into code because it's too quick? How do we get ahead of our adversaries? And this is actually maybe the first time since we had the bomb and our adversaries before they stole it from us, where we have a massive structural advantage. And
the market's believing it. The market's believing it. When you have someone who can communicate a vision like that, you're going to get the market to get a little bit more excited about that. If Alex Karp is saying we have the bomb before our adversaries steal it from us, aka AI is in this case being referred to as a nuclear bomb, then if America can uniquely operationalize that for the government, for the battlefield, and for the enterprise, and Palantir is at the center of operationalizing all of it for all three of those entities, you're going to get a market that's going to pay a premium for Palantir. The question is, you know, what should that premium be? And I don't think any of us have gotten that right over the past 3 months, but the premium is much larger than what a lot of us expected. Let's get an update on NVIDIA and some of the other stuff we got going on right now in the macro.
Almost 2%. Big M&A news in the advertising world. Omnicom striking a $13 billion all-stock deal to buy rival Interpublic Group, creating the world's largest advertising agency. Those stocks heading in opposite directions on the news. And then shares of Reddit rallying, getting its price target raised to $200 from $70 at Morgan Stanley. Reddit also making its biggest push into AI, unveiling a new product that uses AI to answer user questions. Reddit shares, by the way, are up almost 400% since its IPO and up more than 190% just in the past 3 months. It's kind of.
We'll go back to that. We do have a tweet by Elon right here that's kind of on brand with what we've been talking about for Palantir. So take a look at this. The federal government, computers and software are in such a bad shape that they cannot verify that payments are not fraud, waste, or abuse. That's why the government can't pass basic audits. They often literally don't know where your tax dollars went. It's insane. My preferred title in the new administration is volunteer IT consultant. Need to fix the IT infrastructure in order to make the government work. This is a grind and hardly glorious, but we can't make government efficient and fix the deficit if the computers don't work. I mean, goodness gracious. Like, again, if Elon's talking about the computers aren't working, imagine what he's thinking about the legacy software that the government runs on. And, you know, when I hear that, I think, wait a second. Elon knows Karp. He just shared a Karp video. JD Vance knows Palantir. Peter Thiel, David Sachs likes Palantir. They're best friends with Elon. You put all that together, you kind of get to Palantir, right? You kind of get to, hey, maybe we are going to get a lot more government growth because of this Doge thing. And that's why Alex Karp has been talking up Doge as well over the past couple of days. He's been saying Doge is great, and he loves that Elon's running it because he probably knows there is a good shot that if Elon comes to the logical conclusion of, hey, we need more software to actually run the government, and we need to be efficient, maybe let's give Palantir some money because they're going to save us a lot more money in the long term. And if that happens, it really does feel, as D. Lutchen says right here, that it's kind of obvious this could help Palantir. So if that happens, that's going to be very important. Someone says, I worked in the government for 25 years. Elon's statement is 100% fact. I agree. I have not worked in the government, but I can imagine that the government has no clue what the hell they're doing with our money because of all the, the government can't pass an audit. They haven't been audited in 10 years. And it's because they don't know where our money is and they don't need to be audited. No one's going to send them to jail if they don't get audited. If you fail your audit, you could go to jail as a private citizen. The government, they have a monopoly on violence. So I think this is some real checks and balances that are happening. And it would be very, very important to get this done. And obviously, maybe that could help Palantir as well.
I've been a sleeping big winner. As far as the overall market and what's ahead, the big event of the week as far as the economy is going to be CPI, because we're going to get our first read on November consumer prices. And remember, it comes as the Federal Reserve is quiet ahead of its meeting next week, where it is widely expected to cut rates. Thursday, we'll get the wholesale inflation numbers, which feeds more into PCE, which the Fed targets, and then Friday import-export prices, which will also just be another layer to add into the inflation story. Some earnings we'll want to watch: Oracle, Adobe, always big movers. But on the backdrop for the markets, as far as what's expected from the Fed, I mean, there's like a 90% chance now in the market that the Fed is going to cut rates next week at its December meeting. The market took Friday's payrolls report as a sign that a confirmation in the market's belief that it is going to cut rates in December, which I just found a little bit curious because, I mean, here was the payrolls report: 227,000 jobs added in November. Yes, we expected a rebound from the prior month, which was weak because of the storms, the hurricanes impact, the labor strikes impact. So we got that rebound, things looking good. But if you put it, Carl, next to some of the other data points we've received lately for October and into November, pretty strong picture. How about ISM, manufacturing, right? That's been one of the weaker spots of the economy since the Fed's been raising interest rates, but it actually has been showing a little bit of signs of life lately, a little resurgence in the manufacturing index. If you look at the unemployment rate, and if you go back, I just did it for the sake of my lifetime to 1984, since how long I've been alive. And the unemployment rate is at 4.2%. If you look at the gray bars, that's when it's a recession, and you can see the unemployment rate spikes. So the Fed is so worried about unemployment and is targeting a labor market to not see the unemployment rate spike, but we're not anywhere close to seeing a spike. Now they want to get...
Okay, hold on. We'll get back to that in a second, folks. Hershey's is up 18% just now. What just happened to Hershey's? Hershey's is up 18%. What just happened to Hershey's? Oh, what is that? Comcast is down 5%. Warner Brothers is up 5%, all because of their new deal. Yes, that's also happening. But Hershey's is exploding right now. Not sure why it's up 8%, unless cocoa prices fell off a cliff because they were trending upwards. Oh, Mondelez noted to explore takeover of U.S. chocolate maker Hershey's. Mondelez, wow, this happened in the past 5 minutes, guys. Mondelez is potentially buying Hershey's. Hershey's right now is valued at $42 billion. Hershey's has a dividend of 2.6%. Oh, man, if you've been holding Hershey's, you're probably really happy. Look at that. Look at that. Mondelez might be buying Hershey's. That is wild, though. Hershey's usually does the buying of other brands. So the fact that they're exploring a buyout, maybe they're willing to admit that their growth has slowed down and they don't think they can continue to grow. And that's why you're getting a little bit of a takeover here. So Hershey's right here up 18%. And that's the headline that we are kind of seeing right now. So in terms of what Sarah was saying right here, you've got the unemployment rate at 4.2%. You've got ISM manufacturing at 48, which is in an uptrend. And then you got inflation, CPI and PPI, we'll find out this week, hopefully staying stable at that 2.6, 2.7% rate, if not coming down to 2.5, 2.4, because that would be amazing. That is why currently there is an 89% chance of us getting a rate cut. That unemployment rate ticking up to 4.2% based on the Fed's comments over the past couple of weeks in terms of how much they desperately want to make sure that the labor market does not go bad. That is why we're going to get a rate cut. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is the Fed so obsessed with the labor market over inflation? And there's two reasons. Number one, the Fed believes that they have relatively solved inflation, even though, they haven't fully solved it, but they think they've got it under control. They don't think inflation is going back to like 8 or 9% like it was in June of 2022. Second of all, the Fed wants to really nail this landing. And in order to do that, you can't have people losing their jobs. That can't happen. You need to have people keeping their jobs. And any level of increase in the unemployment rate, which is what we saw on Friday, even though we did add more jobs than expected, that's going to get JPOW to say, you know what? We cannot have the potential to have a negative jobs report over the next couple months, because that creates the catalyst. It's kind of momentum on momentum. If Verizon sees AT&T's laying off people, Verizon's going to lay off people. If Meta says, hey, we're spending a lot on GPUs, economy's still kind of tight, monetary policy is a little tight, maybe we're going to lay off some people. Like, that just creates a pendulum that you don't want to swing to the other direction. And I think that's the Fed's biggest mandate right now, even though they say they care about inflation. So if that's the case and we're getting another rate cut, that is incredibly bullish for equity markets, incredibly bullish for Bitcoin. Obviously, more liquidity opens up Bitcoin falling just below 100,000 right there. And it does seem like the market thinks we're going to get another 25 bips. Now, I don't know if we're going to get like 6 cuts in 2025. Some people are projecting that. I think more so we're going to get maybe 3 to 4 cuts. But if inflation falls off a cliff, there is a shot that we get a lot more cuts in 2025. Palantir is at, so Robinhood right here is at 41.44 currently right now, down about 0.55%. Palantir 78.17, still green. Palantir still up 2.3%, not at $80, but we are still green. Big Bear AI, I think this is a short squeeze that's happening. This one's up 19% currently right now. ASTS is up 10%. PayPal's up 1.7%. Oracle's up 26 bips. Elf is up 4%. And then IWM right here, small caps are up currently right now as well. Yeah, Hershey's has not done anything all year. It has been dead money. So I think a lot of people definitely are selling into this strength right here because, I mean, it went from 173 to 200 in like 5 minutes. So there's probably some people that are saying, you know what, I get my exit ticket on Hershey's. I'm going to sell and I'm not going to wait for some takeover. But if there is a takeover, I wonder what the premium would be, because if it's at like $210, then selling at 200 maybe is not that crazy. But if it's at like $250, then, you know, selling at 200, probably people would get a bit upset. When does Robinhood drop news? I don't know. They said Gold Monday is starting today. They haven't put out anything yet. I'm sure we're going to get something probably soon, but no update yet on Robinhood's Gold Monday. Taiwan exports, some macro news, jumped 9.7% year over year in November, driven by strong semiconductor demand and a recovery trade in China. Semiconductor exports surged 15%, fueled by the booming AI industry, while exports to China rebounded 9.5% and shipments to the U.S. rose 10.6%. So you got Taiwan shipping out a ton of semiconductors. TSM right here, 201, down about 0.53%, but Taiwan looking good as their semiconductor exports continue to be strong. Amit, you are pronouncing Mondelez incorrectly as you do with other English words. I mean, are you guys really surprised? Are you guys really surprised? Mondelez is down 3% right here, and I continue to say it wrong because, of course, I will. But they are down 3% because if they're the ones buying Hershey's, usually the company buying tends to go down. TSM right here, 201.91. Where's Hood? Hood is 41.39. That's down 0.67%. NVIDIA not being able to recover. It was going a little green. Now NVIDIA is going down 138.99, 139 right here. Still down about 2.5% currently right now. It's the Oreo company. Correct. It's the Oreo company. It is indeed the Oreo company. At least it's not bad as Williams Sonoma. BioAge Labs are down 75% today. I don't know this one. Oh boy, 75%. I'm imagining one of their drugs failed. That's probably why. We've seen this happen over the past couple of weeks. If your drugs fail, we saw this with Sava, then you're going to get a little hit. Seems like his drugs. Yeah, looks like they're terminating their phase 2 study. They're terminating a phase 2. So basically it failed, right? Of investigating a drug candidate for monotherapy around solving issues with your liver, it seems like. There's probably a little bit more to it, but that one is currently down. It's an obesity drug that is having toxic liver issues. And that's why they're taking it out of the pipeline. That's why the stock is down 75%. There you go. Yeah, just 2 months after IPO, BioAge Labs stops Eli Lilly collaborated obesity trial on safety concerns. This is the problem with buying the biotech IPOs. Like, you really better know the drug and hope that the drug is like not going to fail and has a good chance of not failing. Because if it does, or if they stop progress, then the company loses a lot of value. Eli Lilly right here down about 2.55%. As well. Tesla 393. Tesla could not make over the hump above 400. It did for like 5 minutes. Then it came back down. The whole market's actually getting hit right here. Seeing a lot of stocks go down. Nike's down. Rocket Lab still down 9%. Lyft up a little bit right here. NEO was up 15%. Now it's up 13%. AMD down 3.4%. And Palantir, Grab right here is up 1%. Robinhood getting hit as well. Palantir 77.09. Palantir is 1% away from going red as well currently on the day. Yeah, the volume on Palantir is huge. 52 million shares in an hour, or less than an hour. That's incredible. MicroStrategy down 4%. MicroStrategy down 4%. And Micron, I know some of you guys have been looking at this one, that's up 2.55%. This one is down from 150 earlier in the year. But MicroStrategy currently down 3.5%. All right, folks, we got some pretty interesting stuff happening right here currently as the market opens. Let's see some other headlines we got going on and analyze it from there. Yeah, let's get some NVIDIA coverage and see kind of what's happening with NVIDIA and see if we can make sense of that as well. Let's go to this, and then we'll keep moving from there.
Software expected to launch as soon as today will integrate ChatGPT. Joining us here at Post 9, Melius Research's Ben Reitzes. Ben, good to have you. You seem to be excited about a home appliance at Apple as well. At least you wrote it up. It's on a Bloomberg story. It doesn't exist yet. Why did you spend ink on this?
Well, it's only a few paragraphs there, but but it is good to see something coming from them. But I do feel like they could have a bigger role in the home. And we wanted to just size the opportunity. It's modest, but it's a nice to have, and it could be bigger than the Vision Pro. So, Jim. Jim.
I know that's not saying much. More importantly, though, in terms of ChatGPT or at least the AI features that many have been waiting for, and the rollout, how are you seeing that in terms of impacting sales of the actual device?
Yeah, we have iPhone sales accelerating over the next 3 years. Frankly, we're pretty excited about the software creating an upgrade cycle. It's going to be great.
But the problem is they've been saying this whole upgrade cycle on Apple for the past couple of months, for the past year. And I don't know a lot of people that upgraded, and I don't think the numbers are showing because Apple's not growing that people upgraded. So Apple AI is a piece of crap right now. I think it will get better. I am very skeptical it's going to make people want to upgrade. At this stage, I really don't see that vision happening.
Gradual, it's going to be rolling. The features today that are coming out this week that people can play with are very good. I mean, the integration of ChatGPT, and by the way, they should get a cut eventually of those who upgrade to the pro versions of OpenAI's new stuff, and I think they will play a role there. But also, I think that these visual intelligence features are really good, and it will build. You'll start to hear about it a little bit. It won't be like people standing in line for Christmas, but you'll hear more about it. The emojis, there's something for everybody coming. And then we get more and more Siri, especially in the spring.
So it builds slowly.
It builds slowly. And then the form factors start to change. We have a low-end phone called the SE coming out in the spring. Then we see a slim version, in our opinion, coming out in the fall. And then we have foldables coming in later years. So we see a multi-year cycle. Yeah. And we think the stock's Teflon, by the way. I mean, there's been people trying to will this thing down, and all it does is go up every day. So
it's basically in line with the S&P's performance this year, which not bad.
Not bad.
$3.7 trillion market value right now. Yeah.
Where do you think we are in the arc of Cook's tenure? And are people talking about succession at all, or would be up-and-comers?
Well, look, they have Jeff. They have a very good, they have a former head of AI from Google. They have a very strong bench. It seems to me he's got energy to stick around at least a few more years. Obviously, I got that question a bit with Luca being the CFO for 10 plus years and now moving on to a new role. Luca did a great job of letting the street kind of see the light on services.
Yeah, of course.
He did a great job shepherding us through. Obviously, Tim executed that. I think Tim's got some energy left to see this AI thing through. I think that there were some folks who doubted him, doubted the company, said, where is it? And then obviously he's shown it. And I think there's a little work left on the table, but they have to be thinking about it a little more at the company, just given that he's, getting into the mid 60s and it's a normal thing you should be doing.
All right, so that's the update on Apple. I thought they would talk about NVIDIA, but they did not talk about NVIDIA. Here we go. Let me just fast forward a little bit. Let's see if they're talking at all about NVIDIA. Let's see if we can get any coverage there, and then we will move on. Sees Kulu, I'm definitely saying your name wrong, says hello from Hungary. Shout out to you from Hungary. I hate to say it, but seeing that comment made me very hungry. All right, here we go.
It's just stacking up. Now, of course, these launches are very complex. These are very complex chips, but it's good to see them wanting to keep to that 1 year cadence. And if Rubin does get pulled up in 2026 calendar, you could see faster growth in the hundreds of basis points we said. And then that helps. There's a lot of folks right now going, Ben, I get it. Next year's growing 50% plus. What about 26? Well, these are the types of things. If we get 30% growth instead of 20, that stock's going much higher.
Ben, thank you. Sorry, getting distracted by some other news here as well. Ben Wright says thank you.
You're welcome, guys. Good to be here.
Sarah and I talking during that as well, because distracted because shares of Hershey are up by 19% on a.
Okay, so we'll go back to that in a bit. But yeah, in terms of what he's saying about Rubin, I think it's a fair point. Again, NVIDIA was up last week because Rubin, which is their next generation after Blackwell, Robinhood right here down 1.74%. The entire market getting a little bit hit right here. Did Palantir go red? I think Palantir went red. Palantir is like 8 cents from going red. Rubin is going to come into production in 2025 versus 2026, 6 months ahead of expectations. That's why the market gave NVIDIA the pump last week. The investigation from China into NVIDIA this morning is why NVIDIA is down. But again, I think that's kind of a dumb reason. I mean, like at the end of the day, NVIDIA doesn't need China to win. China is less than, I think, 4% of their revenues. If NVIDIA continues to grow and Rubin continues to accelerate and other generations of their chips accelerate against the timelines that the market expects, NVIDIA is going much higher. And so I don't think that's necessarily the biggest bear case for NVIDIA, but that is a reason for why NVIDIA is down right now. Silver is up 4%. Take a look at that. Silver has not moved for almost 2 months. Like last time silver was in the 30s was October. So silver right here, getting a little bit of a juice right here. Gold is up too. Gold and silver go up. Is that the market thinking that things are getting too frothy and they're buying up some assets that you tend to buy when stocks do bad? Silver being one of the main ones. Maybe that's a little bit of a hedging by the market on things getting too high up in the equity markets and they're going a different direction. S&P 500 is down right here, 22 bips as well, 606. Qs are probably down. Qs are down 30 bips. And then IWM is slightly up by 48 bips. I got my uncle in the chat, silver baby. He has a big silver position. Silver's been a little stagnant. He says my baby is finally up. Silver's been a little stagnant, but I don't know, bro. Maybe the market's thinking we got to hedge ourselves and buy up a little bit of silver in case market's getting a little too frothy. My friend just texted me and he said, I think we're at a top because my uncle just hit me up. Okay, so my uncle in India or Singapore actually he's been investing for 20 years now. But my friend Nate's uncle, who I don't think has been investing for 20 years, who just hit him up, might be a little bit of a signal that we are getting a lot more people interested in the markets. A lot more people. I mean, have you guys had that experience? Has someone in your life that doesn't care about the markets hit you up and ask you about like Palantir or Bitcoin or something? I'm trying to see if we get some news on silver as well, just doing a quick Twitter search and seeing. It seems technical. It seems like everyone's saying this is a technical breakout for silver right now. I've had some people reach out to me about trades, but then again, I talk to people that are in the markets all day. Like most of my friends that I actually talk to are investors. So I haven't really talked to like someone outside of my circle that is into investing, that like wants to know about, the markets. But I think I would imagine a lot more people are seeing it more and more. Matt says, have had multiple people talk to me about Palantir with no investing experience. There are so many people on Reddit posting about not knowing what they're doing in the market. Lots of noobs getting into options. Yeah. And that stuff happens all the time. And some people will make money. Some people will lose money. But in general, bro, I mean, like, look, conventionally, when someone reaches out about a stock pick or a cryptocurrency, it means the brand of that stock / coin has gotten so widespread that regular people that should not care about it are caring about it because everyone cares about money. And if people think there's a quick way to make $1, they're all going to be interested. Like that's just human psychology. And I've been through that. Everyone's been through that, right? So is that a top? I don't necessarily know. All I know is a lot of people are calling a top, and that's what makes me feel we're not at a top because everyone wants to be bearish. Even though I know we're seeing like a lot of bullish arguments for the S&P 500 next year, there's a far majority of people that are not believing that this market can continue. And that's what actually makes me feel like we can continue. It's just a question of how frothy does it get. And the Hawk Tuah coin was definitely frothy, but then that thing, went up to like 80 million, then went down to like 46,000. If you guys saw the whole Hawk Tuah coin chart, like that was money leaving the system rightfully because it didn't deserve to even be in the system, right? That was money that was just like stupid money that was playing around. So I think more and more of that money, if that pops up and eventually leaves, that's also going to be healthy for the broader markets. Palantir goes red. Palantir goes red. 76.30. Palantir officially goes red. There you go. You got a little bit of a sell-off right here. SoFi, 1550, that's red. Palantir just went green. So although it went red for a couple seconds, it was literally a couple seconds. Palantir now back to green, up about 20 bips. Gold is up 3.86%. Yep, gold is getting some love. Silver's getting some love. Bitcoin is selling off too. Bitcoin, yeah, look at Bitcoin. Just sold off by $1,500 bucks. It was at 100,000, now back at 98.5. 1030 hit is definitely happening currently right here. Where's Tesla? Tesla's fighting. Tesla 388. Oh wow, Tesla went red as well. Rocket Lab's down 10%. Well, look, it's a bumpy ride. Pre-markets were fun, but you got a lot of people coming in and taking some profits. Algo's definitely moving in as well. Sachin says there have been a few signs of froth, but market tops are marked by all-out mania and euphoria where every shitty thing is flying. We are not there yet. See, I agree on this. And we would be flying if a lot of stocks were increasing their stocks were going up on crappy earnings. If you have had a crappy earnings in the stock market in Q3, you have gotten decimated. And the best example is TMDX. Horrible earnings, even though they're growing a lot. I mean, in 2021, this company would probably be like $500 a share. Just based on their growth, their market cap, the undervaluation. If we had 0% interest rates, they would get a premium on their growth because they're growing like 80%. But they fell 50% after earnings. So I agree with Sachin. I don't think we are there to the point where it's all out mania. You have pockets of it with Hawk2a coin, but I don't think it's fully there yet. Another example is Target. Yeah, look at Target. Target fell from 160 to 120. Now it's back at 130. But Target's a big company. It's not a small company. And the fact that the market took them down 20%, worst drop in over 20 years. Yeah, there is definitely money that's willing to leave if you underperform. SoundHound was 5%. Now it's down 10%. Yeah, SoundHound, again, I'm not a big fan of this one, but this one trades a lot on narrative and momentum. So if you get into this one, ASTS, Oklo, you're not really trading earnings. You are trading sentiment. Now, if you believe in a long-term vision, then you buy it and you just don't care. But if you're buying it to trade it, there's not going to really be numbers that determine that much around these stocks. Japan is probably raising rates on December 18th. Will be concerning. Okay, so I didn't get to talk about this last week because there was just too much news. I forgot about it, but that is correct. So USD to JPY, which again, we want to see the yen weaken against the dollar. We do not want to see it appreciate against the dollar because that means the people that are shorting the yen and going long tech would potentially have to sell tech to be able to pay back their short. That was the synopsis, the yen carry trade that we had. The Japanese government is thinking of potentially raising rates. And as you can see over the past month, we're getting a strengthening of the Japanese yen. It was at 156, now it's at 151, versus a weakening of it. Now, this is way better than what it was 6 months ago, because in August, we were at 142. So 151 is way better than 142. And we fell from 160 to 142. This is where the yen carry trade kind of happened in that August timeframe. But it is interesting because if they raise rates, that's not going to be good for the US dollar. The US dollar will weaken against the yen, aka the yen going up against the dollar. Or sorry, the yen going down against the dollar. So the yen might go from, I'm just putting out numbers, but maybe 150 to like 145, which is not good for the US dollar. But if the US is lowering rates, which I think will happen, and Japan is raising rates, the question is going to be, will the raising of the rates overdetermine the amount of liquidity and quantitative easing that we will get from lowering rates inside the United States? And I don't know. And I don't think anyone knows. Tesla right here, 385. Tesla now going down 1%. Palantir is 74.95. Palantir is down 2%. But that is something we have to keep track of going into the end of December with Japan. That is something that's going to be very, very important to see how the broader market reacts to it. Japan's deflation might get way worse. Yeah, that's also something that could happen. I don't understand why they're raising rates. I really don't get it. I think it's very political more than you're not going to stimulate growth by raising rates. That's the opposite. And Japan doesn't have a lot of growth, which is why rates have been negative for the better part of 15 years. So I don't know why raising rates is their solution, but they have a new administration, and that's what they may want to do as well. Sachin says the JPY to USD carry trade is still in the trillions, even with the August event. It will create tremors in the markets. Yeah, that won't be good. That won't be good. Again, the basic logic here is if the yen strengthens against the dollar, people who are short the yen have to pay back or have to cover their short, essentially. That means they have to sell off the stocks that they've been buying by borrowing money against the yen. And those tend to be U.S. equities because the United States has, the best equities in the world. And that really means tech stocks. So that means the NASDAQ. That means the S&P 500. So based on what Japan does in December and based on what we do, that is going to create a pretty significant event. Now, granted, if the U.S. lowers rates and the market kind of overlooks it because of the U.S. lowering rates, maybe that impact is hedged, but I don't think any of us fully understand it or fully understand it yet until Japan actually does what they said they're going to do. Robinhood right here, right below 40. There you go. It's struggling to hold 40, down 4%. Everything's getting hit right now. The question is, what is this Robinhood gold news? They haven't announced it yet. And I would like to know what it is, but no announcement yet. Maybe it's coming out a little bit later today, but we have no update on that currently right now. But we do have the markets getting hit. Where's Palantir? Palantir 74.77. Okay, so someone was buying it at 82 this morning. So someone's upset. Or maybe they're buying it at 75 and they're getting an average of 77 and they're just buying the dip. Again, dude, it's just surreal as a Palantir investor because Palantir's at $170 billion market cap. That doesn't make sense from a numeric perspective. But you see the buy side pressure that's ready to pay even more than that. And you kind of just put your hands back and say, all right, whatever. And if this thing dips all the way back to 65, I think there's going to be plenty of buyers there. And at 65, at $150 billion market cap, is that justified from the numbers? Probably not. But still, that's currently how Palantir's trading right now. Coinbase is down 7%. Why is Coinbase down 7%? Bitcoin's not down that much, is it? Oh, Bitcoin's below 98,000. 97. Bitcoin's getting hit. Bitcoin's getting hit. So Coinbase is getting hit. I don't even want to look at MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, oh my, 376 on MSTR. That one's getting hit as well. If Bitcoin goes back to 80,000, then these stocks are going to get destroyed bad. Tesla, where is Tesla? Tesla right here, 383. That's down 1.5%. Celsius is up almost 10%. Really? Yes. Wow. Celsius. Wow. Look at Celsius. A little bit of a rotation here. And market's selling off Palantir and buying Celsius and Enphase right now. Look at that. Enphase up 7% as well. And PayPal. PayPal. Well, PayPal was at 93. Now it's at 90. Target, Celsius, and Enphase are your winners today, folks. Tesla's down 382, and then Palantir right here 74.40. Now again, Palantir even in the mid 70s is incredible to me. So I think Palantir has to go down below 70 before we really see like a bit of a dip. But Tesla was pushing 400 pretty nicely, but now you got some sell side pressure coming in. Grab is resisting. Yeah, Grab is trying to stay green. Grab right here at 518. So Grab is currently still green right now. CCL is going down. Carnival Cruise. Yeah, dude, everything's dumping. Take a look at that. Robinhood's down 4%. Carnival Cruise down 4%. Tesla down 2%. MicroStrategy down 5%. Coinbase down now 9%. Rocket Lab down 11%. Rocket Lab's about to go back to 20, bro. This looks like a little bit more of a concentrated effort of selling, aka algos, that may be rightfully selling, rightfully taking profits, maybe trying to shake people out, maybe a little bit of mid-December volatility. I don't think there's any headlines that are causing some of this pain. But you're definitely seeing some sell side pressure here. Boeing's up. Is Boeing up? Boeing's green. Wow. So Boeing, Celsius, Enphase, PayPal, and Grab are green. And Target. Everything else is red. And NEO because of China. And then look at AppLovin. This thing's down 17%. AppLovin was up 900% year to date, down 17% today, probably because they didn't get into the S&P 500. That's my assumption, but that one's down as well. Where's Walgreens? Is Walgreens green? Walgreens is green, up 6%. I'm getting a phone call by someone. Let's see what he has to say. Steve, hello. I think the cops are coming after you.
Yeah, the cops don't want any smoke.
What's up? You're live on the Market Open. How are you?
You know, I am good. I'm having my eggs, going through my emails. And I got a notification that Palantir is under 75.
How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a lot better feeling than it being at 85.
So when it was at 82 this morning, can you tell me what you were thinking? Like, what was your analysis at that time?
That somebody is going to lose a lot of money.
But see, this is weird because you said it's going to 150. So I'm confused why,
You of everybody should be able to pick up on sarcasm.
You're being sarcastic? I thought you were serious. I thought that was a real target.
Palantir to 225 tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, so I don't know if you're looking at the markets right now, but everything's dumping, like everything. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on why.
You know what? SL Green is not dumping, sir.
That's true.
SL Green is up 4.26%.
That
And
is
your
true.
buddy Rick is up over 2% today.
Rick is up 2%. You know, Enphase is up, Celsius is up, PayPal's up, but all of tech is down. Tesla hit 400, then went to 386.
Yeah.
Coinbase is at 316, down 8%. MicroStrategy is down 5%, and then Palantir is down 2%.
Look, maybe valuations at some point do matter. Just maybe.
So you say that, but then you also have a 7,000 target on the S&P 500. So
Just because I think this market's going to 7,100, not 70,000. So 7,100, not 7,000 next year, does not mean that there are some companies that are overpriced.
that's fair. That's fair. That's a fair point.
I think that Palantir and Tesla are overpriced right now. And I think there are some companies, such as Alphabet and Meta, that are underpriced. Even Amazon and Apple, your favorite.
Out of the big seven, what's the biggest buy right now to you? Is it Google?
If you're just going on straight valuation of what's undervalued, it's Alphabet all day, every day. But I think NVIDIA has the most upside potential right now.
So NVIDIA, I don't know if you saw the headline on them, but
Yeah, it's down. That's it.
no, but did you know why they're down?
Yeah, something with China. Who cares?
That was kind of my reaction. China's investigating them for being a monopoly.
Good luck.
It's like, what the fuck? What type of like? That's the dumbest headline I've ever seen. The 10-year right here.
China's investigating a U.S. company for being a monopoly because they can't get the high-end chips. Cool story.
Also, if China's stimulating, you kind of don't want to antagonize companies that are doing business because, you know, you need the economy to do well. So all around, very weird from China.
You see the news on Hershey?
Yeah, Hershey's is up 20%.
Modell's is considering buying them out, I guess.
No, Steve, you're saying it wrong. It's Mondelez.
Same thing.
No, I'm kidding. I'm saying it wrong, but I'm correcting you because people made fun of me. So do you hold Hershey's? I think you hold this one, right?
Not anymore.
Okay.
But I do like it. It was a problem with the cocoa prices, and that's why I got out of it.
I mean, yeah, that was the problem. Dude, it went from 173 to 200 this morning. So it wasn't cocoa prices. It was that acquisition.
No, listen, it's a great company. Like, is Hershey's going anywhere? No. I'm still going to buy Hershey's chocolate all the time.
Okay, so let me ask you again about Palantir. Elon Musk shared a video of Alex Karp to 200 million followers over the weekend. Do you think that's good for Palantir?
Yes.
Do you think that could explain why we saw the run to 82 this morning?
No, I think that people are just looking at whatever headline comes out. Oh my God, this is amazing. It's all momentum until it's not. It's been detached from fundamentals for a while, and everything with Palantir in the past couple of months has been all momentum. I mean, look, Q3 earnings were not some blowout quarter that sent it up higher. It was a good quarter that hit on a lot of good things, but it wasn't some blowout quarter.
Right.
So it's all been momentum off of headlines and new deals that haven't monetized yet. And the perception that Palantir is going to win a lot of government contracts to drive efficiency through Doge, which isn't even an official.
So it's not a thing, but the market's expecting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fair. Another one that's down today, Rocket Lab, 11% down.
Money Rocket.
They got a lot of names that went up a lot over the past couple of weeks. Today, they're taking a breather. Maybe it's only
I
a
got
one-day
news for
breather.
everybody. People take profits at some point.
Well, that's happening today. That's for sure.
Today was a great day to take profits on Palantir. Well, look, I still think Palantir is going to do great long term. I just think it got very frothy.
Well, look, it went from 82 to 75. I don't think you can claim the victory lap yet on Palantir.
I'm not claiming any victory lap. I'm just saying it got really freaking frothy on nothing in the story changing.
I get it. I'm just saying this thing has to go back to 55 for it to be like less frothy, you know? And if it stays above 55, it is a very expensive name. And
But you know what I don't think is an expensive name right now?
What?
Block.
Ah, yeah. So
I'm becoming a blockhead.
I said I had a friend who is getting bullish on Block. I didn't mention you yet, but yeah, give us a little 2-minute pitch. What do you like about Block?
There's a lot to like about Block, and there's one thing not to like about Block, and it looks like corporate greed, excess corporate greed on their share-based compensation. But I'm going to become a shareholder probably this week or next week, and then once I'm officially a shareholder, I'm going to write them a letter as a shareholder about it, even though nobody's going to care. But they have done, and I don't have the article up, but put an article out this morning. I think they've paid out $5.5 billion in stock-based compensation since 2014, and they've only generated $800 million in net income or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So why are you buying Block?
I mean, look, their margins are expanding. They're at a 36% gross profit margin. They're profitable now. The EPS is going to grow 50-60% over the next 2 years. They're trading at, I think, 17 times 2026 earnings. And in a pro-crypto environment, Cash App's going to become more popular. And the big thing for me is their merchant side. So they've underwritten, I think, $22 billion worth of loans since 2013 with less than a 3% default rate. And in an environment where capital is becoming cheaper and less restricted because the Fed's cutting rates, you got to think that businesses are going to tap the debt markets to expand, which is very good for Block because not only does that mean that they'll be underwriting more loans, they will also be getting more revenue from merchant services because you got to think there's going to be more transaction volume. So I think it's a good overall story.
And the Bitcoin catalyst, obviously, right?
Yeah, I mean, pro-crypto environment is good for Block or Cash App.
All right.
So I'm becoming a blockhead. I think it's a good look. This is a stock that was over 200 for quite some time. It fell to 55 or so. It's gone back to where it was at the beginning of the year and broke out above it. Looks like the bottom's in. I don't necessarily like technical analysis, but when you look at the chart, it looks like the bottom's in. And this is a level where it feels like, you know what? If I start a position here and it goes down, I can dollar cost average into it, but I think my margin of safety is pretty good. I'm not calling the bottom the way that I did with PayPal, but I think that there's a lot of skin on the bone for upside potential.
And you like Block more than PayPal?
I think PayPal is still undervalued, but it's hard to. I don't know. I think they're both going to do good, but I think Square has more crypto exposure. I think in this environment that could propel it higher.
So I'm not fully convinced on Block. I'll do some more research based on what you said, but I think your thesis is sound. I really need to understand the business more because I don't fully get it.
I'm not a Dorsey fan by any means.
Yeah. I mean, look, neither am I, but the actual business itself, like Cash App, the merchant business, I don't understand it yet. And after I do some more research.
The merchant business is easy to understand. They put the terminals in all the storefronts and they have lending, they have banking, they have all these different services with it. They take transaction fees off of every sale on their POS system, point of sale system. And their Cash App, I mean, banking services, buying crypto and all that stuff. I mean, So relatively, it's not that hard for me to wrap my brain around that it's going to continue to do well.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair point. It's a very fair point.
Especially if the economy booms. If the economy doesn't boom, the investment case goes away. But it seems like we're going to have a very robust economy for the next 2 or 3 years. So it's something I'm interested in.
Okay, last question for you, Steve. Someone said right here that Google is trading at 19 forward PE, and that's crazy. Is Google's got to be the biggest buy to you right
it's
now?
Trading at like 17.5 times 2026 earnings, I think.
Yeah, I think Google. I think you see this name closer to 250 by the end of next year, I would imagine.
I'll give you the very high level overview. If Alphabet does not get broken up, which I do not believe is going to happen, what is everybody complaining about? Everybody's been saying search is going to get cannibalized. Ad revenue is going to go down because of ChatGPT. Hasn't freaking happened yet, and it's not going to happen. I mean, I can't say definitively, but you're talking about a company that is generating $50, $60 billion in free cash flow. You think that they're not going to protect their revenue streams? Everybody is still advertising with either Meta or Alphabet because those are the two biggest bang for the buck for business. That's not stopping. That's one. Two, Alphabet also owns Waymo. They also own YouTube, Google Cloud. They have other businesses that are booming right now. I think that everybody is worried about things that are irrelevant, and I'm shocked at the level of profitability that they're producing, that they are trading at this depressed valuation. Even Meta looks cheap.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That is fair. And in terms of advertising, Google and Meta are the only players, like the only real players to digital ads. So.
Here's the biggest thing. If you're a business, you're not asking, oh, ChatGPT. You're not thinking about, so investors try to make all these cases for everything. But if you're a small business or a big business, you're looking at where the eyeballs are. And it's a pretty simple thesis. I need the best bang for the buck because my advertising budget is a certain amount. Why am I going to go advertise on ChatGPT if I can advertise with one of Alphabet's products, whether it's YouTube ads or ads through search, and I'm able to get so many more eyeballs and all the analytics and better click-through rate? I mean, that's what people care about in the advertising industry, not if ChatGPT is taking ground away from search. That doesn't even come into it.
Yeah.
So I think people are making too much about it. I think people have been making too much about it. And I think that Alphabet at some point next year will do well. I really thought that it would have happened sooner. But don't forget, you're a smart guy. What months does Q4 cover?
October, November, December.
What happened at the beginning of November?
Of the election.
Exactly. You haven't even gotten to the quarter yet with all the revenue and profit from the news cycle, from the advertising cycle, from the presidential election.
Yeah, that is fair.
I mean, I think they beat earnings pretty big.
All right. Well, there's Steve's block article I'm putting in the chat. Steve, I'll probably talk to you again on the show this week, and we'll discuss it in depth. But for those interested in block, you can click on that article and read what Steve had to say.
Sounds good.
All right, Steve. We will talk to you later.
Keep being a good role model.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one. Later. All right, folks. We are still ready red today. Palantir, 3.4% down. We are only a $167 billion company. So sad. Google right here at 176. Square's down 3.7%. Meta's down 2%. Everything's getting hit. Big tech as well. Tesla, only a $1.23 trillion company instead of 1.29. Again, so sad. And then Robinhood actually getting hit right here. I think because Bitcoin's getting hit badly. Well, it's not that bad. I think this is more just like people taking profits right here. 39.55 on Hood. People have been asking, do I like Hood at these prices? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. I like it at 40. I like it at 30. I mean, I bought it at 37. There's not a big difference from 37 to 40. So yeah, I like it at these levels. And again, their November metrics are coming out this week, but we already got most of them and it's really good. Like the numbers are very good. If those numbers hold up into December, I think Q4 is going to be a strong quarter for Robinhood. But yeah, we're getting a sell-off. We're getting some red. MSTR down 6% right here, 5.6%, 372. They're down. Coinbase going down 9%. Rocket Lab still down 10.5%. SoFi, bad downgrade, down 3.5%. Again, the downgrade, we read it this morning. It's kind of a mixture of the shares have moved up too quick and the tech platform is not really going to show a lot of growth. And interest income margins might be hurt. I don't think that's the best downgrade. The tech platform is the only part of it that like is a legit argument. The rest of the stuff I think is not as conducive to necessarily sell off SoFi. What day are the hood metrics? I think Wednesday. Let me check. Is it today? I don't think it's today. I think it's monthly metrics is going to be December 11th. So 2 days. Yeah. So Wednesday. But we already know most of the metrics already. Amit, what has happened? Just profit taking? Yeah. Look, here's the thing. I don't think anyone, and I don't think a lot of people in the chat are probably scared of seeing this red because the market has been up a lot this year. I mean, like a lot of Rocket Lab's down from 28 to 22. Okay. Rocket Lab was $3 in March. You know, like people, like at some point, people, I agree with Steve, they take profits. And same thing with Palantir, right? When it was at 82, people were like, all right, we're taking some profits here. It's at 73. It was at $16 in January. So unless you're buying at these very elevated levels, you should not be mad. You should actually be very, to be honest, kind of thinking that it's healthy. I think this is pretty healthy to see some red after a lot of green because it's normal, right? Like it's really normal to see some of these stocks sell off and it gives more dip buying opportunities and it kind of keeps the market balanced. And then eventually as earnings do well, the next leg comes in, we get more rate cuts. It healthily goes up. But if everything goes up all at once, the downfall, we've experienced it in 2022, is going to be just as bad. So I don't think it's that big of a deal at all that we're seeing this. Nonetheless, we are seeing some red. As Ty said right here in the chat, it's healthy, but I'm mad. Exactly. Exactly, bro. It's healthy, but I'm mad. Net worths go down, even though we know that net worths probably shouldn't have been up as much as they were up over the past couple weeks. But then again, you got a lot of money on the sidelines ready for a dip. And I'm sure people are looking at Tesla at 383. If that sucker goes back to 375, I think you get people coming. Like the psychology of dip buying has fundamentally shifted to new floor prices. And it would have to take a lot of bad news to get those floor prices to go down. Because I think most people, like if Robinhood went to 35 today, the amount of people that would be excited to buy Robinhood at 35, including myself, it's up there after what we've seen. So the question is going to be, do people wait for 35 or do people buy at 39.80 and kind of just make sure they get in as much as they can? Grab is up today. Yes, Grab is up. This one is holding up like a champ. I was watching a video on Grab over the weekend and kind of someone analyzing why the market is like actually thinking there's a thesis here. And the biggest argument I got from that is that financial services is something that is underlooked in Grab. They have $1 billion in deposits, and there's hundreds of millions of people in Southeast Asia that are unbanked. They don't have a bank account. And by the way, I downloaded Grab last night. You can download it in the United States. It's number 44 on the App Store in travel in the United States. I mean, think about that. Grab is number 44, not in Singapore, not Malaysia, not Indonesia, in the United States in travel. Like it's competing with Uber and Airbnb in the United States iOS app rankings. Why is it number 44? Because so many Americans travel to Southeast Asia. And what do they use? Grab. That was a pretty big data point for me to see as well. And then when you're in the app, there's a section where you can connect to your bank account and you can literally deposit money. And when you think of this whole super app thesis, if Grab executes against that in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of money that's probably just going to be easily flowing into Grab. Because people, do everything through that platform. So I think that's kind of the bull case here. And that's why it's holding up above this $5 range, even though it was at $3 earlier in the year. Amit should come to Singapore to use Grab. Hopefully, dude, I want to make a trip to Singapore soon. My uncle's there. I want to go visit him. Maybe this year, maybe not. We'll see. But I definitely do want to go to Singapore eventually. I want to test out the app there as well. But again, from all the people that I talk to, it's the only thing that they end up using. And I know there's some bear cases, the competition and all that stuff. I get it. But I looked at some of the competitors, dude. Like there's not really competition. There's like some apps right here that there's not competitors that have 42 million monthly transacting users. Now, there might be some bear cases in terms of the incentives they're using to get people to come in and not use the partners or not use the competitors, which decreases their margins. I get that. But to me, that's just locking in the moat and locking in the users, and eventually that pays off. And if they can show net income and free cash flow margins going up along with EBITDA margins, the market's going to reward them for that. So, and again, on all the analyst downgrades, I haven't seen a bear case. Every downgrade by HSBC or Citibank is like the shares are moving up too quick. At least on SoFi, they said, yeah, the tech platform could do bad, and that's why we're downgrading it. On Grab, there's like literally no argument other than the shares are moving up quick. Oh, also Grab was mentioned on CNBC on Friday by Steve Gracio. I think I'm saying his name right. On Fast Money. He mentioned Grab, and that was the second time mentioning Grab, so you're getting a little bit of mainstream exposure. I think if the stock moves up, we're going to get more people mentioning it. But you're starting to see some people understand the thesis. All right, here's Barclays on their S&P 500 target next year. Let's see what they have to say for where the market's going.
Kroner lays out a base case for 6,500, while OPCO suggests it could go to 7,100. That's a new street high. Our next guest is part of that group, raising his S&P price target from 6,500 to 6,600. Joining us here at Post 9 is Barclays head of U.S. equity linked strategy, Venu Krishna. Venu, welcome back. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
What do you see coming together in the next year?
I think we are optimistic. And I think there are two core reasons why. First is the continued expectation for U.S. tech exceptionalism. And the second, is the fact that right now the consumer is in great shape. Consumer balance sheets are good. Unemployment, even though it's sort of cooling off a little bit, it still means that consumers are spending both on goods and services. And the virtuous cycle between employment, income, and consumption remains in place. So I think when you put those two things together, overall we remain optimistic. We think earnings are going to increase about roughly 12%, which is very healthy and a pickup from this year.
Sure. Does your sector playbook change as a result?
Yeah, in fact, a lot of changes. So on one hand, we continue to remain positive on big tech. That's an area in which the street has systematically underestimated their earnings power, while we have been on the other side. But at the flip side, we have upgraded healthcare to positive. So we used to be negative. Good earnings momentum. They're going to be beneficiaries of the new administration's policies. It is significantly under-owned, and it remains relatively cheap. On the other hand, we downgraded staples. So ongoing margin pressure, ongoing volume pressure, and this is one of the sectors who exercised fair degree of pricing power during post-COVID, and we don't think that's sustainable. And if you recollect, at that time, staples companies was telling people that demand has become inelastic. We were skeptical, and indeed, demand is turning out to be more elastic than what people thought. And so that's one more. And then we upgraded industrials to neutral. We're still not positive. So it's a lot of changes, but big picture, the fulcrum of this market remains big tech.
Does it need Fed rate cuts to continue to climb? Because as I talked about earlier, it's not so certain that we're going to get a bunch more rate cuts with the economy doing so well.
I agree. So I think our view is that valuations are quite full. So valuations are not going to be the source of returns next year. It has to come from earnings. Now, the principal risk we were concerned about is the nominal 10 years going up. That seems to have eased more recently. It's come down about 20, 30 basis points in recent time. So my point is that if Fed goes a little easy, that's not negatively necessarily a problem. In fact, if they cut too fast, it's a problem. It means the economy is falling apart. And if they raise it, we have a problem because inflation is picking up. So we are in a sweet spot where growth is moderating, but earnings growth is still robust, and valuations are full. So you want to pay attention to what multiples you're paying for the market.
And that ultimately means you also have to rotate out of the stocks that have full multiples or full valuations that will have depressed earnings growth in comparison to their earnings growth from last year, but they still will have good growth. It just won't be like 2023 versus 2024 type of growth. And that means you got to rotate, or you got to have a hold on certain stocks versus a buy. That's why Google at 21 times earnings is, exciting, because it's one of the mega caps that's not treated as a valuation that's full, versus Apple at 3.7 trillion feels like a valuation that's more full. But I also think that just means the market's going to broaden out. And that might be the play for 2025. Bitcoin right here at 97,000, really hurting some of the crypto names right here as it goes down. Enphase is up 8%. Celsius is up 8%. We see the market rotating into some of these other names that have not performed as well over the past 2 months, quite frankly. IWM's down a little bit. S&P's down about 0.5%. Silver's going up today, 3.5%. And then Palantir, 72.30. Palantir down a nice 5.2%. So whoever bought at 80 is probably not happy. 90 million shares, bro, have been traded back and forth. We almost hit 83 this morning, dude. It was like, I woke up and I just looked at my phone and I was like I saw 81 and I was like, 81? Like, I was like, whoa, like that's adds up there, right? And, I thought we'd have a chance to hit 80, but the fact that we just nonchalantly went over it and we got to 82 in the pre-markets, it was pretty incredible. So some markets taking some profits right there. 72.22, that one's down. Did you see the Riot news? I did not. Let me try to find the Riot news because Riot was down 10% and I don't know why. Let's see. And then where's Tesla right here? Tesla 381. Tesla's down 2%. Tesla down 2% as well. Okay, Riot. Holy crap. Whoa. How did we not talk about this already? I guess not a lot of you care about Riot because no one put this in the chat. Riot just raised $500 million in convertible notes to buy Bitcoin. Riot is doing the marathon and the MicroStrategy strategy. But their stock is down. Bsoft says, bro, I tagged you 12,830 times in the morning. I'm sorry. That's my fault that I missed it. What the heck? Why is Riot down 10% on this news? Why is Riot? Doesn't the market like this whole Bitcoin treasury thing? That's weird, bro. That is weird. You would think the market, maybe the strike price on the conversion is not at a high premium, which is why it could be trading down a little bit. January 2030. So they have 6 years. It doesn't say the premium on the stock for the convertible note, but it sounds like the same thing Marathon did and MicroStrategy. So I think here's the question why it's down. As Eric says, does it matter if everyone does it? Maybe not, dude. Maybe that's why Riot's down. Maybe the market's like, okay, we let MicroStrategy get away with it. We let Marathon get away with it because they have the most amount of Bitcoin. And so maybe that's like a sort of hedge against, all right, Marathon can pull it off. We're not going to let some other miner, Riot, which again, is not a bad Bitcoin miner, but it's just another ordinary miner. The market's not going to let Riot get away with it. Maybe that could be the argument. But it's down. I just saw his tweet. I think TJ bought more Riot today. Yeah, TJ just picked up 200 leaps on Riot. $15 calls, 2026. He's going to run some covered calls against it. But he bought this at what time? 9:37. So he bought them as soon as the market opened. So he tweeted that he bought 83 grand worth of Riot leaps for 2026. That's weird though, right? We have not seen a stock tank on becoming a Bitcoin treasury in the past month. Marathon is still up 40% from when Marathon announced it at 18, they're at 25. So it's not like Marathon has tanked since then. Marathon right here at 24, they are tanking today, down 8%. But I wonder, so they announced it on a day that Bitcoin went down, unfortunately. Maybe if they announced it when Bitcoin was up, it wouldn't have been like this. But I wonder if Bitcoin goes up, is Riot going to just move at a better alpha against what they historically move at? Because now they're a Bitcoin treasury, apparently. And that's what's happening here. That is pretty incredible. Looks like more and more companies are playing this out. In terms of Palantir, so let me check the sell side pressure on the order book flow. Wow, 71.61. Oof. Palantir going red, folks. Going red. There's not a big wall of selling necessarily. You have a lot more green than red in terms of, like, if we take a look at this right here, right? You have a lot more buyers on the green side that are ready to buy at certain levels versus sellers. And where there's a lot of buyers waiting is at $70.05. That's 120,000 shares waiting at $70.05. So going below 70, it could be stopped by those 120,000 shares. But it could also just, have more people come in and compound on the selling, and we could see below 70. That could happen today. But you do have a little bit of resistance right there at 70, trying to hold it up. I mean, the fact that 120,000 shares are willing to buy it at 70, that in and of itself, right? Like, even though it looks down from 82 and we're getting desensitized to it, people are buying Palantir at $160 billion market cap, which is, the fact that those buyers are there, I think in and of itself is exciting for the stock. Tesla's down 25 from the open. That is correct. How do you see that on Robinhood? You click the green arrow right near the stock price if you have Robinhood Gold, and then it shows you the order book flow. Kava's down 10%. Kava is down 10%. Kava's getting hit. This one never made sense though, bro. Kava at 170 meant every location was worth $54 million. I'm not sure if the average Kava deserves to be worth $54 million, but Kava getting down 10% today. And Neo right here. Neo is also down from where it was. It was at 15% up. Now it's up 13%. But China's still holding up. FXI, China up 9%. That one is still holding up. If you ate at Kava, you'd understand. That's true. I've never ate at Kava. That is fair. Someone says, Amit, where is this comment? Amit, how much liquidity are you expecting when you sell your call options in January, and why not consider selling it now to front run any possible weakness that most expect early next year? So there's two reasons. Number one is taxes. If I sell right now, I will have to pay a lot in taxes versus if I sell in 2025. Now, that's not the best reason, but it is a reason. The better reason is that the call options on Hood are at a $25 strike. I have 30 days left. I don't think, and again, knock on wood, I don't think we go from 39 to 25. I don't think that happens. Now, if that does happen, I will cry live in front of all you guys. But if that doesn't happen, I think I'll be okay. So, we would have to fall, what's the math on that? 39 minus 25 divided by 25 divided by 39. We would have to fall basically 40%, 35% for that to happen. I don't see that happening. I think I don't even think that's being degenerate or risky. The degenerate thing was putting a crap ton of money into call options when it was $8. That was the degenerate thing, but I think that was sophisticatedly degenerate because I thought Robinhood was ridiculously cheap at the time. I don't think it's degenerate to wait another 30 days to save probably close to six figures on taxes. And, because we're so deep in the money, hopefully we don't have a 40% drop. Now, again, knock on wood. I hope that doesn't happen, but I think, given the momentum here, we should be okay. So, bro, if this thing goes to 25, I am going to be crying on camera because I've waited all year for this, bro. I took a big, big bet. I've slept with anxiety every single day this year. Because remember when we were below 25, we had to get above 25. And then when we got above 25, we went all the way back down to freaking 14 on August 5th. And then we got to 30. And then on earnings, we went all the way back down to 23. And every time I bought that damn dip. So I really hope that we finish above 25, which, in all seriousness, I do think we will finish above 25 going into January. And that's when I'm going to be selling. So, yeah, that's the goal. And I'm going to keep all my stock. I'm not selling my stock. I'm just selling the options, which, it's well over 1,000 contracts at this point. So there's a decent number of contracts that I'll be selling. Now, some contracts I'm not going to be selling because they're 2026 and they're $20 strikes. So I really don't need to. But the $25 strikes expiring in January 2025, those are the ones that I'll be selling. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Thoughts about Broadcom earnings? I have no idea, dude. Broadcom's up a lot this year. I think they're going to be okay, but I actually don't understand this company. I don't really know what Broadcom does. I know they're the 13th most valuable company in the world, 12th most valuable company. I have no idea what the hell they do. Something with chips and semiconductors, and that's why they're up. But they better have a good earnings, or else NVIDIA is definitely going to take a little bit of a hit on that as well. So that one is going to be important. Are you in a high marginal tax bracket? You can sell until you reach the tax bracket. That's not worth anymore. Well, I mean, it's a higher bracket than it was last year. And the thing is, guys, we're talking about multi six figures in gains, right? So it's just, the taxes are like, it's a real thing at this point. Like I've thought about selling before 2025, and then I look at the taxes and I'm like, I'm giving up almost 40% of what I'm like. This is just, it's kind of ridiculous, right? Like, it's just not, it really makes it seem like it's not worth it. And so for me to have to wait 30 days to avoid that, and then I get to wait 16 months to then pay the taxes, it's just a better call. It's just a better call. John says, I will unload my whole life savings into Hood at 25. See, I would want to buy the dip at 25. It's just the problem is, like, we need these options to stay above 25. But if we do go back to 25, hopefully after I sell, I am going to buy a lot of Robinhood if that happens. But I don't know. I just don't think we see 25. I don't think we see it. Also, I did de-risk, by the way. It's not like it was total degen. I took out my initial. Back in October, right before I went to India. When we were at 22.85, up from like 18, that's when I took out my initial, and I just bought stock with the cash that I took out. So I did take out a decent amount of money. It's not like it's literally everything riding on this, but it is a lot riding on this. And it's just one of those years, bro. It's one of the, I'm going to remember 2024 forever. It's one of those years I took a really fucking big bet, and I cannot be more grateful to Robinhood in terms of their execution, because I did not expect them to execute the way they've executed this year, but they did. And it was one of those things where, you were there at the right moment, you made the right call, and not every stock's going to work out like that, but it worked out for Robinhood. So that is kind of how this year has played out. My uncle says, come to Singapore, no taxes on US stocks profit. Dude, when he told me this in India, I think we were in the elevator. We were going downstairs. We were about to get into the car. And I was like, yeah, so what do you think your tax bill is going to be like? He was like, taxes? What do you talk about? I was like, when you sell your PayPal or when you sell your SoFi, you have to pay taxes. How much are you going to? He's like, I don't pay taxes in Singapore. I was like, what do you mean? on capital gains, obviously. They have like regular income taxes. But he was like, there's no corporate or no capital gains tax on stocks in Singapore if you sell US stocks. And as soon as he said that, I was like, because if you're in America and you pay taxes on capital gains, you know how gut-wrenching it is to pay that much money, especially if you have a good year. And across the world, they incentivize you to buy equities by not putting a capital gains tax, which is pretty incredible. It's pretty freaking incredible. Do you have to be a resident of Singapore for that? I don't know. I think you have to at least have a Singapore. I feel like you definitely have to have a Singapore passport, and I think you have to live there for a certain amount of time to be able to get away with that. I don't know if you have to live there the whole year, but yeah, I mean, to an extent, you have to be a Singapore citizen, to my understanding, and you get away with, not having paid. Now, granted, the lifestyle in Singapore is different than the United States. In Singapore, if you're caught with weed, yeah, you're done, buddy. Like, you can't. There's no, freedom to get high like there is in California. 420, yeah, that doesn't. Singapore, you're done. So, totally different lifestyle in Singapore, in a variety of things. But if you don't do drugs and you kind of don't care about owning a car, well, you don't have to pay any capital gains tax in Singapore. I only bring up weed, not because I smoke weed, but because it's just like, like Singapore is really harsh, bro. They're a small country. They don't want to tolerate any of that shit. If you have drugs or anything, you're done. So it's kind of like they're not going to overlook it by, oh, it's weed, it's not heroin. It's like, nope, you're done, bro. You're done. So you really have just a totally different lifestyle there, but you have no taxes. Also in Dubai, yes, correct. Also in Dubai, no taxes on stocks and crypto trading. The United States, if we got rid of capital gains tax, we would lose a decent amount of tax income. But I would imagine the amount of money that would flow into the stock market if people knew that they didn't have to tax lost harvest, or they didn't have to take out money to pay their taxes. Because when you have to pay your taxes, you have to sell stocks to have the money to pay the taxes. That's why when Karp sells 5 million shares, 2.5 million of those shares are just sold to pay for the taxes on the other 2.5 million that he's making profits on. If we got rid of the capital gains tax, my goodness, would our stock market see a renaissance like never before. Now, that's never going to happen, because I don't even think Trump could get that passed. But if that did happen, that would make the U.S., I think, one of the best markets in the world. Well, that's probably not happening. Nonetheless, it is happening in Singapore. So it is bullish if you are in Singapore. All right, what else do we have, folks? I think that's pretty much it on the day. It's been a red day. Palantir recovering a little bit, down 4.5%. It was at 71. Now it's at almost 73. You got Robinhood at 39.74. I think it was down at like 39.50 at one point. Grab is still green for the day. Marathon is down 6.4%. MicroStrategy down 3.3%. That was down 7%. So that's recovering as well. And then you got Bitcoin recovering from 97 to 98. The theme this whole year has been buy the dip. There's a lot of money out there on a red day like today, which I think is very healthy. I would imagine there are people that enter in and buy the dip. But we'll have to see. We would need multiple consecutive days of red, which we haven't had since the first week of September to really see some pain. We do have CPI this week. That's going to be important. If that's too hot in terms of expectations, that'll be bad. But if CPI comes in line with expectations, if not lower, that'll be good. So I think that's the biggest market moving event that everyone will be looking at later this week. All right, that's it, folks. Thank you, everybody, for being here. One last look at Palantir. We are at 72.65, 72.79, 4.6% down on the day. Earnings today after the bell, we have MongoDB, we have Oracle, and we have Casey's General Stores. I don't know what that is, but we have that one. Also, I think we have Arlington. No. C3 AI. Sorry, it was the wrong ticker. C3 AI. So C3 AI, that'll be actually important to kind of see. They had a deal with Microsoft last month, so we'll see what that looks like. We have MongoDB, another SaaS name that's important, and then Oracle's the big one. In fact, we might listen to the Oracle call today. I actually think we'll listen to Larry Ellison speak, because Oracle's a big one when it comes to AI, when it comes to data center build out, when it comes to training on LLMs, and Larry Ellison talked a lot about AI and healthcare last time, so I think that's a call we definitely should listen to. So on the market close, we will definitely take a listen to Oracle. Word of the day, and I'll be back in the next few hours for the market close, is Procellus. Stormy as the sea. Their ship entered the Procellus waters of the South Atlantic. The hikers postponed their trek due to the Procellus forecast, predicting high winds. All right. Markets navigating a little bit of Procellus, or the market's being Procellus today, because it's not a noun, it's an adjective. The market's being a bit Procellus, being a bit stormy today, but I think it's relatively healthy given how much green we've also had over the past few months. Casey's General Store is big in the Midwest, especially in Missouri. Casey's market cap is $15 billion, dividend of 0.48%, stock is $413. And the stock year to date is up 50%. Look at that. See, this company that I had no idea of, I don't know how many of you guys knew this company. They have earnings today. It's been a stock picker's market, obviously. Look at this. Casey's General Merchandise up 50%. There you go. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back 3:45 on the market close. Oracle earnings. That'll be a big one. I will see you guys then. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and I'll see you in the next few hours. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.